Hello, family. How are you doing? Today's show is going to be incredible. We have power women on board today. This is a girls' night. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for chiming in. You are watching Shirley's World. So tonight we're going to discuss the stimulus packet. We're going to also discuss the governors and the president. Does our local states have more power over us than the president? And if they do, are they implementing laws on layers on top of layers? Meaning that the government has basically stated, the federal government, that we are in a state of crisis, a pandemic, they say. Well, they saying that we have to continue to stay quarantined until April 30th. If we're going to stay quarantined until April 30th, let me ask you, my family, let's seriously have a conversation with some amazing women on their thoughts and their ideas of where we are. Karen, you're in the queue. Thank you so much for stay there, though. I can see you in the queue. You are watching Shirley's World. Make sure you guys get the thumbs up button, and make sure that if you're watching this already and it's recorded, down below in the comments section are all the videos of all the things that are going on. So make sure that you guys chime in, and we have Miss Ashley, Karen, Andrea, Angela, and myself. I call it the 3 A's and a K, baby. Okay. But before we get started, let's start talking about these government mandates. Now, the governors are mandating certain things different than the president. It's layers on top of layers. So let's watch a couple of videos. Let's see a couple of articles. And then I'm going to bring these ladies in. These ladies are professionals. They're authors. They're writers. They're bloggers. Some of them work within the government. These are women that are conscious of where we are in America today. So let's get this going. Before I bring the ladies in, though, I'm going to show you a couple of articles that are out there. It is amazing to me how now we have more martial law. Many people may not realize, but we are starting to see troops coming in on the ground floor. I've had people show me and send me videos, unbelievable but true, of National Guards and tanks moving way away within the urban communities. And in those urban communities, it is kind of scary for some people. Is it real? Or are they just trying to threaten us? These are the things that we want to know. Because are we moving more into an authoritarian lifestyle in America? Is America, let me ask you this. We're supposed to be a democracy, but now we've got 30 more days. People are impatient. They're disrespecting the law that we've been told to self-quarantine. This is a self-quarantine, voluntary quarantine, but it's moving to feel like it's not being volunteered anymore. It's being enforced, as it should be for the virus that's spreading. But I want to ask you, when we do get our freedom back, which we pray we do, how fast will that engine rev up again? So here's an article on Fox. I thought that was interesting. The mandates of these states. And we have Alaska, we have Chicago. Each one of these states have different mandates, have different rules and regulations. And we're going to go over this. But you see there's additional fines given to you. Many people, if you don't self-quarantine, if you cross the state line, 14 days, you've got to stay in even longer. If they catch you in a residence, you could be jailed up to a year for breaking the law. Now, again, this is supposed to be self-quarantine, but guess what? The governor has the right due to the fact that we are in a state of emergency. And governors like California, Gavin Newsom, and governors in New York have asked for martial law. So you will start seeing military regime moving more into your communities. Well, I don't remember President Trump ever saying that. Well, no, he didn't. But what has happened is the governor that you live under, depending on per state, has different guidelines. That's why you've got all these different states that you see here implementing different laws. So it is important, though, yes, you are watching the news regarding the coronavirus and regarding the China virus, we call it China C. But I want you to understand that each governor has an additional layer of laws on top of what President Trump has put in place for the state of emergency. Why is that? Because that's how the governors and the country is ran, by local, state, and federal. And if you don't understand how local, state, and federal work, then that's where we come in with Urban Game Changers, where we tell you, you have to be self-accountable to understand how Jewish districts work and how you can be looked upon under a different type of regime if you're not ready. So let's bring some of these amazing ladies in. I'm going to ladies, I'm going to go ahead and bring you in. And we're going to start off with each one and bring each one in. I would like you to tell who you are and where you are as active in the urban communities, what states you are. I have Republicans and Democrats who are on board to talk about this situation, because it doesn't matter. The COVID-19 doesn't care about your race, your age, your gender, it doesn't care about your economic background. It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or athlete or a politician. You know, a virus is a virus is a virus. So we all are affected by it. The question is, with governors doing certain things and the president saying another thing, what is the outcome of this, and what are the community people feeling? And these ladies have the pulse of the community. They understand the grassroots and they understand the ground floor. I'm going to bring in Angela, Andrea, and Miss Ashley, which is Sherry, on board. Can you ladies hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I can see Andrea, and I can also have Sherry. How you guys doing?
Oh, blessed and unstoppable, Shirley.
Amen, amen. So let's start with Angela up at the top. Angela, tell them who you are, and you know, we're going to get into the take of the matter, but tell them who you are and what you do within the community.
Sure, I'm Angela Nirvana, creator of the Friends of ADOS TV channel in Facebook and YouTube, co-founder of Friends of ADOS PAC, founder of ADOS SoCal. I am bringing awareness through the ADOS Hot Topics and making the case for reparations some more. I do this round the clock, posting often under Angela Nirvana in the Facebook space. That's really my wheelhouse, is Facebook. I'm really not a tweeter, but you can at me, a Nirvana too. And I don't do Instagram much. I need to really learn those. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Slinging bricks for my child, for myself, for the American descendants of slavery, the American descendants of chattel slavery, more specifically. Thank you.
Thank you for being on. Miss Ashley, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do within the urban communities? I know that you are also in Los Angeles. Let's hear your story.
Can you hear me?
Okay, Ashley, you're having a little audio trouble. I'm going to put you on mute. And then I want Ashley, hold on. No, who is it? Who is it?
Static.
Is that you? Okay. Okay, Karen, can you talk for a second?
What?
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
We're having a little audio trouble, you guys. Hang in there. I don't know who else can hear. Who can hear me? Let's start with me. Can anyone hear me?
Hear you.
Okay, Andrea, you go. Tell them who you are.
I'm Andrea, and I actually work in the insurance marketing industry. But what I love to do is mentor high school young ladies through a group at our church. And I am a mom of 3 and have been married for about 30 years. 32 years?
Awesome.
Something like that.
Awesome. And I appreciate you because Andrea is one of my closest and oldest friends. She's like my big sister. So I was grateful to have her on board. We've known each other since we were 16. Now we are 21 for life. All right. Sherry, Miss Ashley. Miss Ashley. Can you talk, Miss Ashley?
Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, speak a little louder, but we can hear you. Speak a little louder.
Okay, I'm not a technology person at all. So I can see you. I can hear you fine. Yes, you can hear me. So I'm here
Yeah.
in the California area, and I do a lot of historical talks on Black history through a lot of different organizations I work with. But one of the main focuses I'm doing right now is the California School Choice Initiative, where we're trying to get our Black kids into a better educational system. Because here in California, we have 50% of our Black boys not graduating high school. When they do graduate, 80% can't even read at the fourth grade level. These same kids are ending up on the street, or homeless, or taking weed, and there's a lot of opportunities out there. But if you cannot read, okay, you haven't graduated high school, or you're a weed head, you can't take advantage of any of those opportunities. So we're working with a lot of churches, and with the initiative we're putting forward, we're trying to take money out of the school system and give it to families through these educational saving opportunities, that they can take that money, they can go to any private school, parochial school, charter school they want to, and get better educated. So that's my main thing working on right now.
Excellent. So let's get into the subject matter. We'll start off with Angela. Angela, you're active on the streets like I am. We know what's going on in the urban communities. Today, Los Angeles, someone on my Facebook page sent me this post. Let me see if I can show you guys this, that the Los Angeles LAPD is right now on the streets, and they are going after people. And I think that's kind of questionable. Let me find this. But Angela, tell me, what's your thought on the matter?
Gloves, masks.
Well, I just walked to the beach to get my power walk in, and now they barricade the beaches until further notice, which really sucks because it's the way that I decompress. But here's the deal. I really am, after doing much research, I am very suspicious of how all of this is going down. It appears to me like this country is colluding with China for a new world order. I've been researching that. Forgive the background noise, I got to cross the street. I've been researching, and it appears that China put themselves in a position to buy up a lot of the stocks that have dropped. They're talking about China having, reversed the curse of the COVID. And yet we also know that China was responsible for silencing this pandemic. There was a doctor that tried to out them, through the social media spaces. They arrested him. He was an ophthalmologist, 34 years old, married with 2 children. He tried to warn the world through social media. The Chinese brought him in and arrested him and made him reverse his statement. He is now dead from COVID after having treated a patient who had COVID. He was treating her for glaucoma. They're talking about all these cases of people in China and the US that allegedly have been cured of this disease. Where are they? Why aren't they being interviewed on CNN? Why aren't they being interviewed? The only reports I've seen of people that have cured themselves are folks that listen to Rasayana's YouTube video when he talks about, as a Bushman out of Jamaica living in Miami, he talked about how the virus travels through the nose, and he came up with a solution. He said to either do, hello?
Go ahead.
He said, I'm sorry, no, I'm talking to this lady that looks like she's only looking one direction. I'm not trying to get hit. But anyway, like I was saying, he shared in his video about how to kill the virus. It's not a cure, it's not a vaccine, it's how to kill it before it travels to the lungs. Basically, he was talking about how this, and I'm not an expert, the way he put it together makes a lot more sense. I'm paraphrasing. But he basically advised that we put together a pot of sea salt, citrus rinds, garlic, and onion, bring it to a boil, put a towel over your head, and inhale, exhale over that steam for 10 minutes every day after you come in. Well, circulating on Facebook was a young lady out of New York who told her story about COVID, how she couldn't get any help, kept being referred to go home, and how she tried his concoction and it worked. And within that same video, I'm sorry, I have my mask on, so forgive my syncopated breath. He also shared about using a blow dryer, any kind of heat. He is saying is a way to kill that virus before it travels. Now you got folks out here talking about that's not science, that's not medicine. Well, to me, it's my belief after the research I've been doing that this is being established for this vaccine that will only be available to the elite, and that this is a money grab gone bad. Basically, they didn't anticipate this thing to get as out of control as it has. They thought it could be more contained, like SARS and the like. But it has gone amok, and now even the elite are catching this. You got President Trump talking about it's a hoax, but the numbers infected and the numbers dying are growing. So I'm not here to say that COVID isn't real. I'm talking about its origins and why there's martial law. I don't know if you guys have watched Contagion, starring Gwyneth Paltrow. Well, let me break it down for you. This movie was released in 2011. SARS came out in 2002. It takes approximately 10 years for a script to go from inception to release. Now they're telling us that they just found out about COVID in December 2019. But when you look at the symptoms of SARS, this is SARS 2.0. I firmly believe, call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but God did give me wisdom. I honestly believe this is the more deadlier round of SARS 2.0 under the new name COVID-19. They keep talking about a second wave of COVID that's going to be the more deadlier. I'm saying this is it. So basically, all of this is in place for a money grab. For us to be reliant on a vaccine that I do not believe in. I don't take flu vaccines. I don't take none of this new age stuff. The last time I had vaccine was when I was born. Same for my daughter. I don't believe in this nonsense. I don't know what they're going to be injecting us with. And they're talking about a vaccine not coming until next year. And they're shooting down anyone who talks of a home remedy to kill the virus before it kills you. Also notice how they're not talking about ways to build your immune. I've not heard anyone talk about the antiviral herbs that are out there. They're not talking about the vitamins and supplements you could be taking to shore up your immune. I don't hear none of that. But what I do hear, and especially for Black folks, we're being told to go home after being wrongly prescribed for the flu and told not to return to the hospital until we can't breathe. Then once in the hospital, because there are no cures, there are no vaccines, there's not enough ventilators, they are kicking us out of the hospital to our own devices to go home and die.
Let me bring in, hold on, Angela. I want to bring in Karen. Karen couldn't get in, but she's on my cell phone. So hopefully I'm going to make it loud enough so that you guys can hear it. Hold on a second. I really want to be able to hear. A lot of people are chiming in right now. Thank you guys so much. Get the thumbs up button. I really, really appreciate Angela. She is on point. Dimitri, you are on in the queue. We're gonna bring you on later on if you can stay along to the end of the show. Mr. Real, I appreciate you. You guys, please get the thumbs up button and share this video. It's important. We need to talk about the heart of the matter because now we're having reinforcement on the streets in ways we've never seen before. They're rationing food out. And we are told where we can buy, how much we can buy. A lot of the elderly people can't get their food. Certain cultures of people are being treated a different way, pandered to, like Nancy Pelosi pandering to the Asian community, telling the Asian community that it's okay if you sue people for discriminating against you. In Los Angeles, we have the Asian community taking your temperature as you go eat at their restaurants. And they're bringing their culture and their ideologies here. They're the ones that brought the mask in. They're the ones that brought the disease in. We need to have some type of new regulation, family. It shouldn't allow people from different countries to come here and not be quarantined. Now we're quarantined because we did not quarantine other people from other countries, and that's a problem. Let me go ahead and bring Karen. And Karen, are you there? Can you hear me? Let's see. Karen, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can you guys hear Karen? Okay, yeah, address the show. Karen, why don't you go ahead and share who you are? And I know you're not in the queue, so people can't see your name, but tell them who you are and what's your thought of the stage of where we are with COVID-19.
Well, I apologize, I'm having technical difficulties, but I appreciate you doing this. I am very frustrated about this because I know one of your questions was who has more power, the governor or the president, federal or state. The real issue is that the people have the power. And this will last as long as we allow it to last. If the people do not rise up and vote people out of office for creating these draconian actions, then we'll just take it. But it is not the American way to just be told where you can go, where you can't go, especially for people who are well. These are not people who are sick. They create these limits for people who are healthy. And that is not American. So we have the most power. There isn't anyone that we can't vote out of office. If the people have the will, then everything will change. But the thing is, people, they don't have the will. They don't have the will to be engaged. They don't have the will to force change. And if they don't have that, then we're going to get as much crapola as we're getting now and more. Because people are just allowing it to happen. And it's not constitutional. We have the right to assemble. And all of this is happening without due process. People are being told that they can't go a place and they are not ill. So this is highly disappointing that we have people who are not being more engaged in stopping this nonsense.
Absolutely. But we only are supposed to be told to have 30 more days, but we still have not reached our peak. And some of the stuff that Angela had a lot of validation to it. I want to bring in Andrea back again. Andrea, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
What's your thought on the other ladies and their opinions and the subject matter?
I find I probably pretty much agree with a lot of what's being said. It's the thing that's most disturbing to me is the restriction, and I just for me, I tend to look at things in a very simplistic way, and I feel like they are really we're kind of moving down a slippery slope with all of these rights that I feel they're taking away. And my question, of course, is then how quickly are they going to restore these rights that we're so easily giving up? We're so easily allowing them to take away some of our basic rights. I think I agree with Karen, and in some ways I'm guilty of the same, of just not being engaged enough to make sure that we're doing a better job of voting in or voting out individuals that are not working for our best interests. And I think this, at least for me, and hopefully for a number of people, will be a wake-up call to say, we need to be more diligent. We need to be more alert. We need to pay closer attention to what's going on. I mean, we're really allowing them to dictate a lot about our everyday lives, and it's not American. This is not what we fought so many years ago to end up as.
Good point. Good point. Sherry, let me ask you this question. Barbara and the Q says, don't vote Trump out of office. He's not the problem. Is Trump the problem? Because that's some of the question that people are asking now. His followers, the people who have faith in him, he's operating by his advisors right now. And should he take a second look at his advisors? I mean, let's talk about numbers, ladies. Many of you guys know the numbers of common colds, different type of COVID 18, 17. There's different ones. Miss Ashley, Sherry, tell me what's your thought. Do you think President Trump should be running again and I mean should be reelected because of this? What do you think the outcome's going to be for his election?
Okay, he's just working with the hand he was dealt. You know me, I'm a facts, figures kind of person, a numbers person. And what I'm going to say, I agree kind of with the first lady that was talking to. I'm not sure what her name is, but the numbers that I'm seeing do not match response.
Just speak a little louder for us.
The numbers that I'm seeing for the deaths that we have right now or the cases does not match response. Now I'm seeing last year there's like 40,000 people that died of the flu, which is kind of normal in our society. Sometimes 40 to 50,000 died. Now, China first told us about this just January of this year about this Wuhan virus.
Can I interject real quickly? Because I want to correct those numbers. Those numbers for 2019 are not correct. The numbers for 2019 that are on the CDC guide are from October 2019 to February 2020. So if you go back and look carefully, 2019 numbers are not out yet.
Okay.
The latest numbers that we have out for the whole year are for 2018. 2018 numbers for America deaths for the flu was 60,900 people. So if you go back and look at those numbers, and that's what we all need to do. We all need to carefully scrutinize this data. But it says the number as of October 2019 all the way up until February 2020. That is not the entire year of 2019 because those numbers are not out yet.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'm just giving you estimates. I'm not giving you exact figures estimates.
She said she's giving estimates, but not exact figures.
60,000.
Both the numbers, people. So go ahead, share it. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that.
Yes.
We're about receipts here, so I appreciate that, Karen. Go ahead, Sherry. Go ahead.
People, they say die of the flu each year, and these numbers can vary different places depending on what you read. So I'm just giving you some estimates from people that what they're reading. Okay. Mm-hmm. What I'm going to say is that China first told you about this Wuhan virus in January this year. Okay. They said initially it was they had the first case in December. Then they backed it up to November. They lie so much you don't know. So that tells me it was already in the atmosphere last year. People probably getting infected this and dying of this last year. But what happened last year, because you didn't know it was a Wuhan virus, it was wrapped up in a flu, some kind of flu chain, because you didn't even know what to test for. So we don't know really how many people were infected or died of this. What I do know, out of people that are infected, 99.999% of the people are recovering from it. Those numbers not put out there. Now, if you have some underlying condition, you're more acceptable to this virus taking you out of here, just like you would the flu. If I have a bad flu and I go around my grandma and she has a lot of underlying condition, she could actually die from me being from pneumonia and stuff, me being around her. But the numbers don't back up for the response that we have put into this situation we are right now. Now, when that swine flu took place under President Obama and Biden back in 2009, there's about 64 million people were infected. They had about 14 to 15,000 deaths back then. We didn't shut the economy down. We didn't shut any business down. We didn't have all this response we're having right now to it. Another thing they're doing too with this flu or this virus that they have, they're wrapping a lot of numbers up into there that are not really virus related. So if you have a major accident or a heart attack or stroke and you go to the hospital nowadays, the first thing they're going to test you for is that virus. You may have the virus, but what happens is that the car accident thing that killed you or the stroke or the heart attack killed you, that would kill you. But since they tested for it, they're taking those numbers and wrapping up into this virus to say that this virus where the numbers are a lot lower. And what I'm still saying, the response that I'm seeing right now with shutting down the whole country is not in response to the numbers, what I'm seeing, what's actually going on in this country. And like the lady said before, something else is going on here with China. They told you this was the virus in January. Other people in the media, especially, jumped on that, whatever. And I thought it was still a way to take this president down, or whatever. Because if we wouldn't have had such a strong economy, oh yeah, we would be in dire straits right now as far as where we were. So a lot of the things are going in the play here, but the numbers I'm seeing does not back up the response that I'm looking at right now.
Well, I appreciate it. Karen, just 2 minutes. I'm going to go back to Angela real quick. Karen, what's your thought on what Ms. Ashley said?
Would you repeat the question?
What's your thought on what she said as far as the numbers? What's your thought on numbers and the common cold? I think I've talked to you both privately, and you both had a kind of the same anatomies of outlook on life when it comes to the cold and how many people died of the cold versus how many people are dying of this virus. What's the comparison? What's the non-comparison?
I think we both agree. It's just that we both have had different research. But when I do research on things like health, I go to government numbers because they are just raw data without being contextualized by people's narratives. So the raw data show that people are dying. That's unfortunate, but the vast majority, and as you said, the vast majority of people who are dying already have some other issue, and the majority of them are over 85. So that is a very vulnerable demographic anyway. And I'm not just throwing older people under the bus, but that is just unfortunate that that's happening. But we are dealing with a virus, and the reaction, my issue is the draconian reaction to this. Yes, people are dying, and yes, people are getting infected, and people are ill. But the vast majority of people who get this virus will not succumb to death. They will self-recover. And for us to shut down the entire country, I think it's just an overstep. I think we have gone way too far. We've had Ebola, we've had cholera, we've had TB, we've had dengue fever, we've got a polio epidemic as well, and we're not shutting down the whole country. I think the reaction to this is at fault. And I think most of that is because the media is getting people overexcited about what's going on. Most people will not die of this. We have people die of the flu, people die of colds. We've had more people to die from car accidents than we've had of this COVID-19. And I'm not trying to compare one to the other, but I'm talking about the reaction to this. When we've had so many people die from car accidents, we haven't shut down all the highways. And that is what we've done now. We've taken a misfortune, and we've gone 12 feet two ways from where we should be. What we should be doing is we should be finding out who is ill and keeping vulnerable populations away from them. So if you have this, if you are susceptible to dying from this, then that's the group that should be quarantined, not healthy people who work at restaurants and shutting down the whole damn restaurant. That's not how it's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You have a headache and then you cut off your head. That's what we've been doing. And that's where the media has gone just way too far, getting people hysterical over this, and it's the hysteria that's killing us.
I think some of the questions I have for both of you, all of you guys here on the show, thank you guys for chiming in. Make sure you get the thumbs button up and share and like this video. Subscribe, because I am bringing on some empowering women right now. These women are thorough. They know the community. They're interactive with an urban game changer. Karen is out of Texas. God bless her, in Dallas, Texas, out there making a fight for the community, having a true voice on the table. We also have Ms. Ashley, who works within the school districts and understands the laws of the schools within the California area. We also have 2 other California people here, Angela, as well as Andrea. Right now, what you're seeing is the counts and the numbers I put online so that you can see these numbers. These are live right now. And California, United States is number 1. Italy's number 2. Spain's number 3. And China is claiming to be on a decline. But as we all know, China lies. We still believe China is number 1 because China lies.
Sure.
But yes.
Can I please interject before you entertain more questions? I wanted to respond to the caller that said we don't have the will to vote this out of office. And I want to respond to this not being as big a pandemic as the media is making it out to be. Can I just respond before you move on?
Please do.
First of all, we have no power. We have no money. Money is power in politics. And what you saw with this stimulus, which was a second bailout for corporate, 96-0. The very Democrats that claim to be so far left-leaning, that claim to be so freaking progressive, that folks was jumping down my throat because I was insisting on reparations and a Black agenda with the ADOS movement. Bernie Sanders voted yes for that stimulus. AOC voted yes, all of them. So the people, it's not that we don't have the will. We have no power. They were able to shut this country down and get a $4.6 trillion bag to bail out these corporations who took their tax refunds, their tax breaks, and bought up their stock. Understand there is something bigger going on, and the people are powerless. We have no weapons. We have no money. We are done. They have shown you in 1 month, less than a month we've been at this, how they can shut it down. That should be a wake-up call to all of you. You have no power. You have no voice.
We still have
You have no democracy.
It doesn't cost anything to call for a recall vote. All we need to do is start organizing and recall all of these horrible politicians. It costs nothing. It costs shoe leather. It costs knocking on doors and telling people our politicians have failed us.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. No, I hear you.
Options are options for
and replace them with who?
Hold on, Karen.
Who you gonna replace them with? Who you gonna replace them with?
Hold on, Karen.
We have got to unvote them.
Hold on,
And
Karen.
that can happen.
And who runs the government when we unseat them? With who? With who? And with what? Politics is money. None of this gets done unless we got folks ready to really run on our agenda. AOC is a flat-out liar. She's a flat-out liar. Her and Bernie will sit up here and pretend to be for the people and die on the sword. I went through this with Bernie Sanders. When he was running, I worked on his campaign in 2014, made the dials, made the donations. And in the end, he was blaming Russia for Hillary's demise. Well, we got an electoral college that said Trump, even though she had 3 million more popular votes. So they could do the blame game amongst us. We are, as a nation, are divided. Let me go to the next point, and then you can counter about this pandemic and folks just making stuff up. This is nothing like we've ever experienced. When you see these numbers, are the numbers lying? Are the numbers lying? Because I've seen more infections. I see this thing spreading and growing. I don't see it declining in this country, and China has not shown evidence of people being healed and reversing this from isolating us in our homes. This country has yet to show me enough people that have recovered from this, haven't had a relapse from this. This country don't even have enough tests for this. We don't even know. That 80,000 that Shirley just put up that screen could be 8 million. We have no clue what this is. And so let's not underestimate the power of this being different. These folks have known about this since October, maybe around ahead of it. So they were able to contain it because they shut the borders down and they made people go on isolation. But in this country, for this president not to call this a national state of emergency and shut them down when the governors don't comply, it is signing us up for half this country to die from this. And it's no joke. The numbers are climbing. We're now number one because you got some folks going to with their stupid ass kids going down there to Miami. You got this woman in New Orleans blaming Trump that he didn't sound the alarm from Mardi Gras. How you running your state and you not up on international news? How is it that I'm learning about COVID from Lovely T on YouTube? How is this? So none of us, but I tell you who was wearing masks. Those Chinese was wearing masks and gloves everywhere. I turned in the airport because they were up on it.
But the Chinese have been wearing masks ever since I can remember. The problem that we have,
this is no joke, and we can't take it like
Angela, I agree with you. This is no joke. But let's take this in fact. I'm gonna give Karen a rebuttal in a second. You are right on the money when we talk about the people are powerless, and especially within the Black community, especially the elderly people. I was watching the other day in Los Angeles that they will deliver your groceries for $70. I mean, this is highway robbery for people who really just cannot get out. And we as a community need to realize that these people, meaning all these other culture of people in the country, have segregated themselves purposely to separate themselves and take care of their own. Until we do what we're doing today, is having a conversation about what is the next of this virus. Because if we rely on government, we rely on the news, and we rely on whatever the federal government says, we will still be behind the 8 ball, and we don't want to be that way. I'm going to bring Andrea back, but before I do, Karen, what would you like to say?
I would like to respectfully disagree.
Okay.
We have the power. We have not, it does not cost money to request a recall election. Every municipality has a different number because every area has a different amount of people. But we need to start filing recall elections on all of these politicians that fail us. We vote them into office. This is not, they're not kings, they're not queens. We vote them into office. We need to get them out of office. They work for the people.
I understand that, but Karen, let me say this.
This is a country that has had to fight for every single thing. We had to fight for freedom. We had to fight for rights to vote. We had to, if we don't have our fight in us, this is what we're going to get. But it takes a fight. It doesn't take money. If you end up getting, depending on how many people are in your district, you can recall the governor. You can put a recall against the president. But we have power. Don't ever let them lie to you and tell you you don't have power. You have power. We just need to exercise our power. This is happening because we're allowing it. In my state, in my area, I'm free. I always tell people I was born free and I'm free. Now, I go about my way. If someone wants to arrest me, arrest me. Because I'm a citizen of this country, I've paid taxes, I'm a property owner, and if I want to go, then I'm not going to, I can make my own decisions. That's why we're supposed to be free in this country. Life, liberty, which means freedom and pursuit of happiness. Well, we have the right to assemble. We also have the right to recall these politicians. Nancy Pelosi is up for office every 2 years. Most of these politicians that are pretending like their butts are glued to those seats are up for office. We don't have to accept this. I think, unfortunately, President Trump has been pushed into a corner because people are telling him this is more serious than what it is, but the numbers do not prove that. They simply don't prove that.
The numbers are they there? Are they not there? Andrea, let me ask you this. You're a mother of 3 children. And from a mother's perspective, one of your sons is in college. You've got a couple of kids in college. Let me take that back. I would love your perspective on the ladies that you just heard. One is telling you that we have power. The other one says we are powerless. As a mother of 3 children who's married, by the way, I should say who's married for 30 years, What is your take on this?
Um, I don't think we're powerless. I think that the people always have an option. It's just a matter of what they're willing to do. I think I agree more with the we have had to fight for things, but um, like I said in the very beginning, I tend to take a very simplistic look at some things. And to me, we as a nation, we've become very complacent. We don't always get out to vote. Our voting numbers have always, in a lot of areas, are low. In a lot of ways, we are waiting for. In I see just in my day to day, not surveys, not looking at numbers, just in the people that I encounter, the passiveness, that I see in the people that I encounter. My own passiveness in a lot of ways. Like I said, this has been a big wake up call for me that that I need to do more. I need to pay closer attention to what's going on. I need to be more involved. Um, but I'm not I'm not worried. Might it be uncomfortable? Yes. Might it be difficult? Absolutely. But I'm not worried. And maybe that's just because of my general outlook and how I tend to view things as a whole. But I'm not panicked for my kids. I've got uh, one who's home now finishing college. The other two have basically graduated. They're finished. My son just left. Well, just as all of this was breaking out, he had a vacation plan and he was in New York. He came back from New York. He's in Missouri. He realized that he was exposed. He rode the subways. He did what he wanted to do. He came back home and he self quarantined. He knew that he had friends and things that were living with older people and didn't want to worry about infecting. He did the responsible thing and self quarantined himself for 2 weeks. Um, as far as the numbers go, I'm a skeptic. So while I believe that the CDC may be reporting the numbers that they have or that they've tested for, what I don't know is what about all the people you haven't tested? Um, I tend to think that far more people are recovering from this than they allude. And I think I agree with the numbers with one of the other ladies when you talk about the number of people that die every year due to the flu. I'm not sure um, how much different this is than that. And so my question is, if you know that the flu strains are getting, taking flu shots and different things are creating more aggressive strains of flu, then why are you surprised that we're looking at a very aggressive strain of flu? And if it's going to be getting more aggressive, um, does this mean that I think I have more questions than anything? Because my next question is, so does this mean every spring when it's flu season that they're going to shut down the nation because everybody has the flu? Well, it raises to
It
me
raises
more
a lot of
questions than
questions
anything
because of
else.
the fact, I agree with you. It does raise a lot of questions about the power factor of, are we going to regain our rights? Because a lot of people are living in fear now. Not only living in fear, but they're living in frustration. Miss Ashley, before I bring in another video on, I want you guys to listen to. And I got to show our people. I got to show our people. Shout out to all the people who are giving money right now. I really appreciate it. Make sure you get the thumbs up and share this video and subscribe. If you're not a subscriber of my YouTube and Facebook page, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Tonight we are talking about, where does government play a part in our lives compared to the federal level, from local, state to federal? We as local people have to communicate. We are the ones that set the guidelines. It says, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice and domestic tranquility. Well, there's no tranquility right now. There is frustration. There's anguish. there is confusion, there is questioning of not only the administration, but questioning of powers to be that have been put in place and that are in place that are trying to either work against this administration or working against the people. Whatever the case may be, like Angela stated earlier, we are finding out that they are getting this one of the biggest stimulus packages signed in U.S. history, and individually, we're all just going to end up getting about what, $1,000, $1,300 or whatever that is. And if you're in California, some of the average rents can go from $2,000 to $8,000 a month. So if we average that in the middle and say $5,000 to $4,000 a month, if you go $3,000 a month, 6, 9 within 3 months, if we're still in this in 3 months, that's telling me that you all will find yourself $10,000 in debt. That's at $3,000 a month. $2,000 a month, 2, 4, 6. That's $6,000. Can we recover? Because that's the bigger question to me in all of this. If it's real, if it's fake, when will it all end? The recovery factory, the turning the machine off, meaning the socialist system. Now, if many of you guys don't understand socialism, you're living in it right now. This is socialism. This is authoritarianism. This is where people are telling you how to ration. That's under regimes that we're not under. We are a democracy. But how can we say that we're a democracy when we're seeing the socialist system in place? Now, I'm going to revert to Miss Ashley right now because what she said earlier plays a big part of this. And that is that if we thank God, we do have for the last, a couple of years since Trump's been in office, we've had a capitalist regime that has had reserves for us, because we didn't have the reserves that we have now. And now we have these reserves to offset the socialist actions that we have in place. Because people think because you're a Republican, you're only going to want to support capitalist issue. We are about capitalism. We are about independent labor and freedom and entrepreneurship, but we also understand the importance of people that have needs. But do we really see a lot of money going out? Yes. Will we be getting it? And will we have enough of it? I say no. Miss Ashley, tell me, what is your take on that factor?
Here. Trying myself.
Speak up, Miss Ashley.
Myself here. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Great. Just a couple of things because just like the lady was talking earlier, and you know me, I always talking about facts and stuff. So let me get just a couple of facts out before I go into the whether we have power control. So right now with the figures, and these just estimates, like I said, with all the people that are infected, New York is over 76,000, New Jersey 18,000. It's going down. California about 8,400, and Washington State, where the initial epicenter was, they're like 5,900. Now, New York, the reason being that a lot of these cities like New York and New Jersey, New York being the worst, is this because they got people living on top of each other, and the conditions have been filthy for all these years. America needed a good enema of what they're doing right now, a lot of these cities, and that's what's happening right now. New York right now has taken over. They have not taken care of their cities at all for this period of time. Blacks and people, especially people and Latinos and things like that, are really been suffering under that regime. What they've had right now, they're being exposed. So I'm hoping, like, to the point they clean this up, and people that have put them in this situation will be put out of office. Another thing I want to say too, there was back when Mayor de Blasio was trying to run for president in December last year, whatever, the federal government came in under Ben Carson. I work for the federal government. They're getting ready to shut their housing project down because it was so filthy and nasty, and they let people live in those conditions. But Mayor de Blasio came, started crying, please, I'm trying to run the president. They let that continue to happen. Those people are living in rats and roaches and things, just like here in California, where we got people, 60,000 people living on the street, eating out of trash cans, and these kind of conditions. You know, they have defecating on the street, whatever. That has not been taken care of. They've not been provide housing for these people. And believe me, that virus is going through that community right now. And we've had literally people dying on the street here in California since they've been this homeless population going on. And President Trump, let me tell you right now, President Trump ain't got nothing to do with any of that. Okay, this stuff has been going on for decades. Here in California right now is taking place. We're only down to about 6% of the population. We got 15 million Mexicans. They've been here for 30 years. We got about 14 million white, only 2 million black people. South Central, Compton, Hawthorne, Linwood, all those cities where blacks were chocolate cities are all gone. Our school system, we're only a small percentage now of the students there in school. Everything, we've been here for 400 years. We let a group come here that's been here for 30, 40 years growing and take over everything that we have. So yes, we lost a lot of our power, but because we've had a complete breakdown, what it started with, of our family units, we took money that we shouldn't have taken, and I grew up in the South, Lot Park, that whatever. We had moms and dads, Medeas, big mamas, everybody, and we had real families. But when you have a complete breakdown of family structure, there goes the church, there goes school, and everything else is happening on top of that. Now, just as far as our control element goes, as far as Black people go, when I grew up, it was a privilege to vote because you really couldn't vote. If you had to walk 10 miles to vote, you would. When you got there, they told you to repeat the whole Constitution, or if you could do that, you had to decide how many jelly beans are in that jar or how many bubbles are on that bar of soap. You did it. And Black people voted anyway. When you got home, you may got beat or rope waiting for you because of the fact you had the right to vote. That's the kind of people we were. That in the last 50 years, that has changed in that particular environment. But what we have here, and I just want to go back to the Michael Brown situation, because this is so bad. When Black people were telling us, and I heard them on TV, listen, our mayor's white, our police chief is white, our school district board is white. Black people were 70% of the population. You know how many Black people voted? 6%. And you own the
Exactly.
city. I get sick and tired of Black people crying, complaining of what they don't have and what they can't do when you're not voting and being a part of the situation. That killed us more than anything. And let's put this in. We're only 38 million people left here in the United States, okay? Mexicans are probably number 60 million, whatever. Now, we've had 20 million abortions. And a lot of people took part of that years and stuff ago because you didn't know. That's half our race has been exterminated. We should be 80 million strong right now. And the reason we don't, because we're wiping ourselves out as a society community. We had a woman in the 60s or 50s with a keyboard and a piece of chalk, sent a man to outer space and back home without a computer and without a calculator. That's what's in our DNA. And the reason we cannot right now get back that, until we build our family structure up again and take that back, nothing else going to matter, because so goes the family, goes to the community, the church, and everything else is going along with that. Thank you very much.
Very true, very true. Thank you, Miss Ashley. Angela, I want to bring you back in the number, bring Karen in. I do want to show this video, but Ashley, Angela, you are here on the front line. You're hearing what all these ladies are saying. You know, it comes back to what you said earlier, and I got to give you a lot of credence because I love your fire, Angela. It is our people and us that need to start fixing us first. We got to fix us first. We got to wake ourselves up. We need to have the conversations. Just like Karen said, we got to know the numbers. And like Miss Ashley said, we need to realize we are killing each other off. And before we start throwing stones, which is we have the right to throw those stones. Don't get it twisted. My wonderful colonist friends who watch me every day, my wonderful white family that's out there. Look, we have to hold each other accountable, but in some part, there's the part that we continue to vote for these stupid people, especially those who are Black, and especially those we see like Nancy Pelosi, Eric Garcetti, are caping to the Asian community, saying that this is just hard for them. They're raising money for them right now. They didn't raise no money for us, Angela. They didn't raise no money for us. So what's your thoughts on what we've talked about so far?
Well, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, there's no difference between the devil and Satan. When you're dealing with the Democratic Party, for me, it's the gas chamber versus the Republican Party, which is the guillotine. Now, that's my opinion. I feel like they are colluding in this the same way I believed about Bernie Sanders the first go round. This man sat up here and watched them suppress the vote all throughout the country when that primary was going. Never spoke up against it. Never said a word. Allowed the superdelegates to vote against the way of the constituents. I watched this unfold. Jill Stein, Green Party, whom I voted for last election cycle, offered him the presidency after he was gaining momentum. She was going to move off that seat to give it to Bernie to run on his democratic socialism platform. Because as we all know, you cannot start a revolution within a non-revolutionary party. He would not even return her calls. Then Hillary was the pick. He met with Obama and told us to vote for Hillary. After Hillary lost to Trump, he got on the Russiagate bandwagon when he knows full well that Julian Assange and WikiLeaks was not a part of Russia. So, what I've come to learn about Bernie Sanders is that he is a beard. He is there to drive money through that DNC for the likes of what was Debbie Wasserman Schultz and now Tom Perez, to gift that money over to the establishment candidate and then rally the sheeple in the end to turn up and vote against their own interests. Where is the power? Where is the power? The other caller that just spoke, she talked about how they didn't turn up in Mike Brown's state. How do we know that it was only 6% that turned up and out? So much voter suppression going on, especially where we are heavily populated. How do we know? This recent primary, I stood online for the first time in 17 years, living in Southern California for a primary for 3 hours. They've got these computerized machines now, half of which weren't working, and they were understaffed. What I'm trying to tell you is that the democracy is over. What I'm trying to tell you is that the Democrats would rather lose to Trump, as would Bernie Sanders, than for Bernie Sanders to win Medicare for all. And we have got to wake up and understand what we're up against. To me, we're in denial. Until you can show me that the flu has proportionately killed this record number of people and have infected this record number of people, and we're not even over in a month, until you can show me that, I am not convinced that this isn't the pandemic that everybody is reporting, because China kept this a secret for a reason. I'm telling you, it's the New World Order, and it's China's turn to be on top. And so what you see are the billionaires in this country making sure they finish us off from what Obama started in 2008. When he bailed them out, who was the hardest hit? Now, how can the ADOS people lose the only asset they have to transfer to their children, and you not see the correlation between what is happening now, a bigger grab bag, and both parties are complicit, 96-0. How do you sit up here and say we've got power when half the country is on drugs and alcohol, smoking weed? We got the weed joints all up in our neighborhoods where the white folks drive over and buy the weed, but we can't own the weed, and we got nonviolent offenders doing time for weed. How do we have power when we've got parchment? How do we have power? Nobody has explained this to me. Y'all talking airy, fairy dust. We are powerless, and we built all this wealth you see around you.
I gotta
And
go.
we are in the fight of our lives to prevent from becoming the permanent underclass in this country. And we can get every black person all the way through our boomers to stand up for reparations, which is a debt that is owed for slavery, Jim Crow, and ongoing accrued racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
I understand. Hold on a second. I want to thank Andrea for being with us. She's getting ready to leave, and I know I've got somebody else getting ready to come on. But Andrea, before you leave, because I want to hear more from Angela, and I want to show a video. Angela, I really want to show something about the community that you said in just now, which was very valid. That we have become codependent on substance like weed. And first they put all the liquor stores in with all the Jesus churches, and then they took the liquor stores out, and they kept the liquor stores in. Excuse me, they took the churches out, they kept the liquor stores, and now we got all these medical clinics all up and down Crenshaw and Western and Normandy. And I mean, we as people have to identify that we are targeted as a nation of people. They want to suppress you, and they want you suppressing yourself. Again, Andrea, thank you for being on board. Before you go, and I'm going to bring in somebody else, tell me, what is your thoughts on the subject matter, and what do you think that we should be looking for in the next coming days?
That's a tough one. There's bits and pieces of everything that I've heard that I agree with, and some that I'm not so sure about. But I think the bottom line is that you do have to, the people are going to have to pay attention. You're going to have to go back to personal accountability. You're going to have to decide to do something yourself. You're going to have to decide to pay attention to what's going on around you, to get involved in some way. The only reason there's weed shops up and down the streets, aside from the fact that, yes, they're flooding them in our area, but if they flooded them in our area and we didn't buy it, then they would close. But we're buying it. So there's got to be some accountability for the individual, in my opinion. And just because they flood everything, just because they send everything down our way, doesn't mean that we have to accept it. I mean, we could stand up and say, no, we don't want it. We don't want this in our neighborhood. We're not going to buy it. We're not going to support it. We're not going to stay high all day. We're not going to, do the stereotypical things that people are saying that we're doing. And at some point, as the individuals begin to stand up for their rights and stand up for who they are, and remember that they are good people and they do have something to offer, as you band together, then I think you can fight some of this stuff. But I tend to be more an optimist on things like that than anything else. But I think that it comes back down to the individual people and individual accountabilities, and you're going to have decide for yourself what it is that you're willing to do to fight to keep the rights and things that you have.
Well, I appreciate that. I think that we talk about accountability a lot, especially with urban game changers, where we hold ourselves accountable as well as elected officials. And I think the fact that we are in an accountability forum is exactly what we're at, and exactly what you should have said, because I totally agree with you. As a mother with children, as I am, grown children, we want to have a conversation. And that's what we do on this show. And that's what we do as a family. If we agree or disagree, we have to lay these cards a little different for us, people. We can't just look at what people are telling us and throwing out at us. We have to lay these cards down a little bit different. So, Miss, I want to thank you so much for Andrea for chiming in, and I will talk to you soon. I want to show you guys this new video. Before we got Flagship in the queue, and I thank God for Flagship. Flagship's going to come on board as these ladies stay with us. And Miss Ashley, I know you've got 10 more minutes, but I've got to ask Miss Ashley a question. Miss Ashley, we got some issues with our people right now, and our people, as you already know, we medicate ourselves, Miss Ashley. And we medicate ourselves because a lot of things we can't deal economically, socially, emotionally. And because of that, we've left ourselves to be subsidized on weed. So I want to share with you a video, Miss Ashley, and I want to ask you and Angela and Karen, I know is still on board with us right now. I want you guys to listen to this sister who is basically talking about her weed, and how she wants to know how she's supposed to deal with having these children at home. It's kind of funny, but I think it's a reality of a lot of our people right now. So let's go ahead and chime in and hear what this sister has to say.
Y'all, I done had to come in this motherfucking car to get away from these motherfucking kids.
Oh, pre-warn you. Sorry about that. There's some bad language. So, we're dealing with folks from the hood. So if you got kids watching, you just want to mute just this section. I'm sorry, people, but I had to show this video. So bear with the sister, because she's going to say some very choice words. But I do feel it's important for our people to hear.
Listen here, Trunk. I don't know what the fuck going on, but whatever the fuck y'all put in this air, y'all need to motherfucking contain this shit. Because these motherfuckers need to go back to school. See, I ain't got enough money to be calling the motherfucking weed man. And the dispensaries ain't giving no goddamn discounts for this shit. So Trunk, you need to contain this shit. Or tell the motherfuckers over there in China that they need to contain this shit. Because I ain't got enough motherfucking weed. Now y'all can come and take me to jail all you motherfucking wanna, cause I got a motherfucking card. And bitch, and the way my brain's set up right now, y'all can motherfucking come get me because I listen. Let me explain something to y'all. Y'all don't stop this till motherfuckers can't go to school. Y'all don't put it to where these bitches can't go to the beach. Y'all don't motherfucker put it to where these bitches can't go to the motherfucking trampoline place. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is it that y'all want us to do with these motherfucking kids. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What is it that you want me to do?
Miss Ashley, what does she said, what should she do?
You ain't giving me no money to go buy no activities.
I mean, she needs money. She needs time. Miss Ashley, what's going on? Miss Ashley.
Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, Miss Ashley. I can hear you.
I can't even respond to anything like that because, I like to.
But I
got something to say.
I can't even respond to that. But bottom line is, we're still down to the same thing. We have had a complete breakdown of our family units. But we had dads and moms. When I was growing up, 90% of our families were dads and moms. And if somebody was around, you had big mama, sister girl, auntie, everybody took care, and that stuff was on lockdown. We didn't have this kind of stuff going on. We didn't have weed heads. We didn't have people shooting each other. We had a few winos running around the street. And the reason we live in 2020.
Everybody got these weed cards. They got weed cards. How do we help people with this? Because I think a lot of them are going through withdrawals, and they emotionally cannot deal with this situation.
Only thing I'm dealing right now is dealing with these, helping these black boys, especially kids in this school system right there, to get them out of it into another environment, whatever, that they don't have to deal with a lot of that. That's in the ether already in our environment, whatever. So if we can save a lot of these kids where we are right now, that's my focus. That's what I'm doing. I don't know what to tell you with the woman, because a lot of people like that right now. But I said before, if you're not graduating high school, if you're reading at a 4th grade level when you graduate and you're a weed head, you can't get a job. You're going to be uneducated. You're going to be on the street, and you're going to be either in a graveyard or in jail. That's your options. So I'm working with a system right now, and a lot of people are too. We're trying to save a lot of these kids. That has been my main focus, especially a lot of these black boys. So as many I can save here in this environment, that's what I'm trying to do, and keep planting that seed.
We are dealing with an economy. We're dealing with an epidemic that are driving the people mad. They cursing at their kids. She's going through withdrawals because she knows she's running out of weed. Now, many of you guys are running out of your medication. You call it your medication because you got your card. But I'm going to go back to what Miss Ashley said. There was a time when we as a people didn't use that as a dependent. Yes, Flagship is in the house. Go ahead, Flagship.
Whoever that sister is, she mentioned something that's right on the head. This education system. They are destroying our boys and girls at the youngest age. Black women, you want to know why you guys can't, not to go off subject, but you know why you can't find a good black man? Or a black man, you know why you can't find a good man? You have these white supremacists destroying the city of the to 12th grade. By the time they graduate, they don't understand what a good decision is. Now, I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm not going to give an excuse. But the bottom line, we got a problem. And what that sister said about getting our kids out of these damn schools, sign me up for whatever you're doing. I got $1,000 on it. I'm with you. Because that's step number one in the solutions game. That's step number one. We got to start teaching our kids. We didn't have all these problems before Prime B Board of Education. We didn't have all this. Yeah, of course you had like the pimp and the little drug head and the little this and the little that. But that was like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It wasn't the overall infrastructure. Literally, the infrastructure of the black community is a hot mess right now. And then you combine that with them pushing this swirling movement on TV and all these commercials. there is no black family no more. I mean, I didn't realize. I mean, I have a black mom and black dad. And they're still married, and I was raised in a black church. I have black aunts and uncles that are still together. I didn't realize the wealth that I had just by that until I left and went out to the real world. And the thing is, I had my black mom and dad defended me and whipped teachers' asses to where I wasn't messed with in school. But I saw what happened to my friends who did not have a mom and dad. So I kind of went through and I got messed with, but it wasn't that bad. So whatever that sister talking about with education, that's step number one. Now, so I have another thing to say, but I just want to stop there for right now. Just let other people talk.
I want to bring Angela back in. Angela, when we see a sister like what we just saw with all that cursing, forgive me, family. I know it's a lot to hear these people curse. But you know, these are people from the street. There's different levels of community people, and I got to keep my show raw and real, and I got to show you some of the pain of the street people and how they're coping, and they're coping by medicating themselves with this weed. But I have a system where I say, you had the child, you open your legs, you make yourself accountable to it, now you got to raise it. There's a lot of people.
Oh, come on, Shirley. Come on, Shirley. Oh, don't make.
Let me keep it real. If you look at the fact that we have these people in our community, hold tight, flagship. Let me just get my thought across. If we have people in our community that have these children, that they know that they have to raise them, I never complain. I'm a mother of 3 sons. I never got to that level. But we are in a different era, aren't we, Angela? We are in a different era of dependency, on substance dependency. We are in a different era where we subsidize Lyndon B. Johnson and government programs from the Great Society, where we don't see capitalism in the movement of the community like we did of the latter days that Miss Ashley had mentioned. Angela, what is your take on that? Because if we're going to get subsidized from this administration, are we really going to benefit from it? And when we deal with frustrated people like we just saw in that video?
Well, let me help you understand how we got here. It's systemic, family. It is systemic.
Speak up, Angela.
Let me talk. Slavery. We came through slavery, Reconstruction. Abe Lincoln gave us 40 acres and a mule. Andrew Johnson took it back, gave us Freedmen's Bureau Bank. They robbed us, and then they pulled the Union troops out of the South to put us back with our oppressors, who then lynched us, who burned us, who re-enslaved us, who sharecropping, who had their way with us because the government failed us. Okay, took those Union troops out, left us to our own devices. They burned down our businesses. Okay, fast forward, then you've got redlining, then you've got the private military industrial complex, then you've got the government being complicit in dropping the drugs and the weapons in our community. Then you've got crack babies, epidemics. Then you've got those same mofos in the government who set us up with the drugs and the weapons, carting our strongest men, our most fearful, our fearless political leaders still in jail. Obama didn't release those. Okay, you've got our strongest black men removed from the communities. You've got our women being prostituted all throughout the music and the videos to create the video hole. Jews run the record industry. You've got all of this at the hand of the government who owes us. Who owes us. And let me tell you something. That is what that woman was birthed out of. We got a CBC who never said a thing. Maxine Waters said some pretty colorful words. Never did anything to take these mofos to task.
No.
And at the same time, you got them elevating immigrants. Down here in Southern California, Nigerians are worth about $70,000 liquid. ADOS, American Descendants of Chattel Slavery, worth about $200 liquid.
You doing a lot of drugs. Say it again.
And now we don't even have that. Okay, now you've got these black immigrants upset with us for putting a gate up around our reparations when they came over here after 65, after the Immigration Act. I don't blame them. I blame the government. We had a black president that we put in office not once but twice who told us no to reparations. He set the stage for everybody henceforth to tell us no to reparations. And these Democrats can't even tell us after being their mules for 60 years how they intend to close the egregious racial wealth gap. And our people are dying and suffering. It's not funny to me. It's hurtful to me that these are the descendants of the slaves who built this country and everything in it. And we can't even come together 36 million strong to put this shit down, but y'all want to tell me we got power. Those children are being neglected. If a mother can sit up there and curse about spending time with their child, I understand the children are a handful, but these are people that send these kids to school for the teachers to raise them. I know, I was a teacher, and it was hell trying to teach the ones who wanted to learn, who came from something, because I was up against these babies who had been left alone while their mothers were up in the clubs trying to cop a feel with some low-down, sleazy-ass nigga that just want to come up on their benefits. So they in class cutting a fool because they needed parity. And then you wonder why the teachers just give up. They're not paid enough to parent and teach. But I'm telling you, it's all systemic. And why haven't we invoked our power to date? Would Jewish people stand for this in their music? Would Jewish people stand for this, for their women to be prostituted all over the screen? Would Jewish people allow this if the situation were reversed? Furthermore, we wouldn't even do this as a people. That's not who we are. But why haven't we taken to the streets? Prior to now, why did we exercise all this power we had prior to now when it is at DEFCON 4? Why is it that I can only get a couple of people to turn out to an ADOS SoCal meeting? Why is there only just a few of us slinging bricks really hard? Why are people funding the Friends of ADOS Super PAC? So that we can finally raise enough money. We raised $41 million for these sleazy-ass Democrats last year. But folks want to talk to me about how we don't have any money. 41 million black folks poured into the DNC, but then to sell ourselves for the stimulus that we can't even pay a month's rent down here in Southern California. While they take a 4.6 trillion grab, but y'all want to tell me we got so much power. Where is it? And why haven't we invoked it?
But here's one of the things regarding power. I am ADOS as a lineage, but I am not with the whole ADOS Yvette Carnell and y'all movement and stuff like that. I respect her. I respect all y'all, but I'm not in y'all with y'all like that. But I am down for reparations. I'm with some of the things that you guys talk about. But one thing that I'm down with is the power at this junction in time, since, like you said, $41 million poured into the DNC from black folks. We put these Congressional Black Caucus members in. They don't even have to run at all. They don't even have to really campaign. The power in this junction is not doing down ballot. It's by not voting. We don't have to prove that we got the votes. We've already proven that. We've proven that we can get out there, we can vote, we can put people in power by not voting. Guess what? They will lose. The entire Democratic Party will be erased. They don't have enough illegal immigration voting that happens in California. The power comes in not voting. That's where the power comes this election cycle. And especially since we got these folks down south, all these civil rights fossil demons who sold us out with the civil rights movement, which only helped white women and Jews and helped gay people. It comes to find out they're using it now. They're the ones who are voting for Biden, of all people. That's why we can't harness power, and that's why everyone laughs at us. That's the reason why people can do blackface and joke about us. That's why they can miseducate our kids. That's the reason why they can do all these evil things to us. Is because of the fact that they know that all they got to do is come to the black church, go get them like Bloomberg, go talk to a pastor, and go see an old Negro spiritual, and then we're going to say, okay, we forgive you. I'm done with forgiveness. Miss me with your Christianity and miss me with your forgiveness. We need to start harnessing Ogun and say, nah, get your ass about the goddamn paint. That's how we start harnessing power. You cannot harness power with forgiveness. Period. Now, another thing I want to do, what I want to say is, Matt, I'm talking about that black lady who was upset about her kids, is that this is a result of the civil rights movement and feminism, because the civil rights movement helped white women, and white women took black women under their wing only to make the black man economically non-viable. Now now I think Yvette Carnell did a complete report about this, about the civil rights movement helped black women 10%, black men went backwards 10%, and white women went ahead 90%. So it didn't help us. And and then also she also did another video that talked about how when black men went to jail, black women were evicted. So this black woman is probably exhausted because she don't know where her next check's gonna come from, because she's probably working 2 or 3 jobs. And then she don't have a man in the house helping her out because her man's probably in jail. And then also the pool is very, very low. So she probably had to go with some deadbeat motherfucker. She didn't get a good choice. And so she got all these kids at home running her crazy. And then combined with the crazy ass school system that we have, she's probably she's probably trying to have self-therapy because she doesn't know what to freaking do. And that's the result of having horrible leadership. That's the result of keep voting for these damn demon Democrats by not voting and letting them vote. Because the thing is, a racist person like a Jared Taylor, a Richard Spencer, trust. Even though we got some coons, black folks know how to deal with that. We got long history of dealing with a Jared Taylor, but we do not know how to deal with these Democrats. We keep allowing them to come to the cookout. We keep allowing them to come to our homes. They write these horrible policies, and they railroad us into the justice system. And then after they kill our kids, we're forgiving. No, you don't get to forgive. We need to get these people up out the goddamn paint by not voting. Let these Republican racists take over this country so that we can deal with this the way we need to really deal with this. Because then when it starts getting hot on the streets, they're going to start renegotiating. And that's exactly what happened in the civil rights movement, because it was getting really hot in the streets, and they had to renegotiate. Unfortunately, we had the wrong people in the damn negotiation room. That's the problem.
We got
that's the solution
on the table. Absolutely. You guys both are so on fire. I come behind you like, whoo, let me get in the heat in a little bit. I have to give you so much credence because you bring a lot to the table for our people to understand. It's the self-accountability people that we're not doing. That's what they're saying. And it's also not being conscious of what's going on. When you hear people type #get woke, #stay woke, you ain't woke. Because like Angela said, don't just listen to American news, go to Sky News, find out what's going on in Italy, find out what's going on in Europe, find out how China is playing games, find out what's going on in India. Because as we listen to local news, the world news is saying something totally different. And on top of us looking now from a global perspective and a federal perspective and a state perspective of governors, because your governor acts as your president right now, technically, because we are in a state of emergency, that governor can ask the president for martial law, which Gavin Newsom did, and has troops coming in. And those have said on trains, they see tanks getting ready to roll the streets to keep you in your home, even though President Trump said this is a volunteer quarantine. So even though we say we feel it's a volunteer quarantine, but we're going to see more and more pictures of people who say, I'm just done. I just want to go walk. Angela said, I just want to go walk in the park. I wanted to breathe a little bit. I wanted to have a little air. But guess what? If you don't have a backyard and you're in an apartment complex, you SOL. Now, one thing Angela also said, which is true, we have an illegal immigration problem and a migration problem and a diffusion problem. Let's talk about that, because if you come into this country, we let you get off the plane, the boat, the train, and just walk on our land. We need to think twice, people. We need to talk about holding these people in contamination areas for the rest of this process after this is over with. And I tell you why. Because of them, we have TSA. Because when I was younger, my father could meet me when I got off the plane. He could go from the street, up the elevator, through. There was no TNS, ST. What is that? You know, the airport check people. They weren't there. You could just go straight through. But guess what? Because of 9/11, because of us commingling with all these foreign lands who don't respect health and sanitation. They don't respect the laws of the land. They don't have the same ideologies and viewpoints. Now, let me tell you why America, even if China's lying, is number one in this country when it comes to this COVID-19. The reason why we're number one is because we have so many illegals who are not healthy. I've showed you in previous videos where we have cats, dogs, bats, where they cook their meat, they kill their meat, and they sell their meat in the same areas. We don't do that. We have different rules and regulations on how we process our meats and how we distribute our meats and use our meats. In Wuhan, China, where this virus occurred, the meat market has live animals roaming while you are buying the meat from the store. Again, in California, the restaurants don't have hot water. They have mild luke waters. You know I'm telling the truth, family. Put the thumbs up and like this video. Put the thumbs up and remember Black family first. Because when I'm telling you, when you go into these restaurants and you try to wash your hand and you waiting for that water to get warm and you're waiting, I'm waiting. You're gonna be waiting till Jesus get back. Because they're under guidelines where they're supposed to have hot water, but they don't even have that. So they don't wash their hands. They're cooking on the streets. I've done those videos where they're cooking on the streets. Woe be unto you. Now, the virus can live on surfaces. So if you have mail, if you got mail, keep in mind that if you got mail, like I'm showing you mail right here, it can live on that surface. And I heard a rapper said he got sick and he didn't go nowhere. You know, he might have gotten sick. He opened his mail. You've got to contaminate wipe down your food. You've got to wipe down your mail. You got to wipe down everything now. Why is it that we're wiping down things? Because we've allowed our country to be flooded with all these foreigners, and it has not helped our country. Let me show you another video, you two. I've got to get you to tell me what's your take on this video. We have these people that are out here, and they're talking about how in other countries, how this virus is affecting the economic aspect for China. Let's hear it. It may not be that clear, but I do want you to hear it. Hold up. Call that wonderful technical difficulties. Ooh. Nope, not liking me right now. Angela, go ahead and talk while I play with this a little bit. You know, you were talking about illegal immigration. Another thing that I was thinking about was how we as a people have to deal with these people coming here. And now we're living like China with the bicycles. We're living like China with the scooters. Y'all know what I'm talking about like that, with the scooters and the bicycles. And that's an issue. I've got the video back now. Hold on, family. And I want to show you how we're becoming like a regime of China. We're becoming part of the authoritarianism set up in California. Let's watch this. They'll let that scooter sit there all days and every day because they know somebody's gonna come and they'll rent the scooter and you put your credit card in. And for those who've never seen a scooter, let me show you. You put your credit card in right here somehow. You actually use the app. You use the app. You download the app and then you scan the app and it notifies it. It notifies it. I don't know what that is. It notifies it of its location. So they got a fight going on somewhere over there across the street. You know, this is the way of the world. This is the way of California. And if you want your state like this liberal ass state, because see, there's some more, and they're different scooter companies. It's not all the same company. Like that was a great scooter. What's the name of this one? Lime S, right? So there's not even a regulation on how many you can have. Let me show you this one over here. Now these scooters, I guess they have a space for these scooters, but see these scooters right here? They have scooters for them right here. I personally don't get why do I not like these scooters, because when you're done, you're not having to park them anywhere. You can just throw them wherever you want. You just throw them wherever you want. Because that's why they're making parking higher, and that's why they're making regulation higher. You know, parking zone for the scooters. This is California with all these damn scooters and bicycles. I wish I could show you some of the bicycles. I'm not near that zone, but I did show you the parking. Now, I want you to understand what you're seeing in this video. In California, we have high density living. And what that means, family, for those who are out of the state or out of the country, there used to be, because I'm a real estate agent and a developer, there used to be a requirement where you had to have so much parking per unit. But like in China, they believe in all these bicycles and these scooters. Well, guess what? They're contaminated. They're contaminated because these people don't wash their hands. Okay, now you've got viruses spreading at a rapid pace. This is why the states that have the high density leadership that Angela talked about, that believes in this liberal, progressive, interactive movement of these culture of people in here, it's affecting us. They minimize our parking. So what you're seeing right here is a minimized parking space that you can park in. They don't want you parking on the street. And they have this set up now that they're not even in English. They have to do pictures because they have so many foreigners that say, I don't understand when I park, how much I pay. I don't understand what it means. I don't read English. So now what they do is they make these signs that you see right here so that you have to understand the picture movement. This is not America. This is the purpose we're trying to tell you. This COVID-19 is all part of this, is all part of the agenda that Angela is talking about. How we as a people are so dummied down, and how we as a people are so unconscious of regulation of government on a local level. Forget federal and forget the state, on a local level that has gotten you mentally so suppressed that now all you want to do is smoke some weed. What the hell?
Shirley.
Drink? Come on, my people. Let's keep it raw and real.
Shirley.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that one thing that Angela said that the question of I'm just going to say it like this. I think that the energy is there. There's a lot of energy, whether you are with ADOS, or you're with, China Fox, or you're down with Tariq, or you're down with Dr. Umar, or you're down with any group or any new, because the new black media, regardless of, there's a lot of different opinions. And besides the recent skirmish, pretty much everyone's on code with trying to help. Everyone's on code with trying to help the American black diaspora, not everybody. That is a core of what I'm hearing from everybody, whether you listen to Vicky Dillard or whoever. Everyone is on code with helping black folks in America first. And that's what I'm hearing overall. And the energy's out there, because the thing is, a lot of people are online talking and doing YouTube videos. And the thing is that social media, ever since 2016, they're taking a lot of people down so we can't commingle. And if you come together as a group or outside of it, a lot of the FBI with COINTELPRO, they're trying to go out there and kind of break this stuff up. But I think the energy is here. I think that everyone, I think right now everyone's just kind of figuring out, okay, the big debate that I'm hearing amongst, like, at least my group of friends is, okay, do we go vote except for president, or do we just don't vote at all? That's like the big debate. But everyone that I've talked to, even folks who are like against reparations at first, they're like, yeah, that does make sense. We do need reparations. So I think that we just need to not let this coronavirus take us off our game. I think that we just need, I don't know, there's just something that we're missing. We just need we're missing one big thing to get it all to come together. Because this immigration thing, I'm done. Cut the borders down. We don't need no more immigrants over here. And if that means I'm xenophobic, sign my black ass up. I'm xenophobic. I do not need Maria Conchita Gonzalez Hernandez and her poncho, 12 jelly slippers, and a 10-gallon hat, and Cardenita to Jamaica, talking about, I'm a minority too. No, you ain't. Get your ass up off the goddamn pay and go play soccer. I'm not messing with you. Because we've been trying to combine with these Hispanic Latinos and even African, you ain't with us. We ain't with you. Out of all the resources from these damn Latin American countries, out of all these resources from Africa, all you had to do is put money in black banks. Put $1 million in a black bank so we can fund our own economic engines. We could have been out of this mess. We could have had our own school districts. But no, you guys come over here off of the back of what our ancestors built. And then you come over here calling us Akata, which is real. Let me tell you something. I was called Akata when I was in high school. I graduated in 1996. I thought they was like, oh, that means homie. I was told it meant homie. I did not even know until I was watching Yvette Cardell. She said, no, it's like calling somebody N-word. So all this time, I thought it was a term of like, oh, that's my dog, that's my homie. I was being called an N-word. I didn't even know that. I look dumb as hell. Let me tell you
You
something.
cut
I
it
felt so dumb. I felt so damn dumb. So I'm not rolling with nobody. I don't want to roll with
out.
Kwame and Lufumbe. I want to roll with Shamaka, Tyrell, and Darnell. That's who I want to roll with. And if you don't like it, I don't care. Go take a cyanide tablet. I'm all about us. Us. That's it. I'm done.
No, I appreciate that. Let me show you another perspective, family. When we think about this virus, and again, this video is talking about the governor and the governors and the communities and how they're governing us and how they're layering on top of what President Trump said. President Trump stated the following, that this is a volunteer quarantine. But is it? Because thank God for Katrina Pearson, who was kind enough to post on my Facebook page a picture. And no, I think that was AJ Smith. Let me make a correction because I love both of these ladies who posted on my page I showed you earlier. We're now seeing a kind of a martial law action walking up and down the streets of California. That's a problem. That's a problem. And because of that problem, we are not able to do what we want to do. Let me show you this article I mentioned earlier so that you guys. Oh, go ahead, Angela. Go ahead. As I show the article, go ahead, Angela, talk.
Well, let me help you understand something. You just said how LA and New York, someone just ran down the numbers where we have the biggest cases of corona, and it's largely due in part to a huge immigrant population. Down here in LA, it's due to a huge homeless population. And we already know what's happening to the homeless down here on Skid Row, which is 90% ADOS. I'm telling you, if we don't invoke martial law, this thing could potentially wipe off half the country. Now, I know you're against that. And Trump, to me, is an idiot. To sit up here and suggest something that is growing this rapidly and not declare this a state of emergency, a state of national emergency, and have the country go the way of California and New York, etc. You're talking about those of us who are being quarantined. What is the use when the rest of the country is able to pick and choose whether or not they quarantine? We will never get this under control. They have no cure. They don't have enough tests. They have no vaccine. I don't know any other way but to quarantine the entire country under martial law. You've got folks over in India getting beat by the police because they refuse to go inside. This thing will continue to spread, and it spreads so easily. And where it's going to spread the most is right up in these hospitals where they don't have enough beds and they're sending people home until they can't breathe. Then they're coming back in there. And you're talking, this thing has already gotten out of control. I just started seeing people go into action this month. We are at day 31, and look at the numbers in this country. Now, those are the numbers that are known because we cannot test everyone. So while you are disparaging martial law, I don't know any other way but to do the way of Korea. That is what they did, and they got ahead of it. And so now they don't have this epidemic. They're not struggling under this the way we are because we've known about this since last October, and it's been in the international news longer than that. So we are way behind, and we don't even know how many people are truly infected. Furthermore, you can be walking around with this thing here and be asymptomatic. I would venture to say we have all come into contact with it already because we just shut down. I wasn't using gloves up in the courts where I work. I wasn't doing any of that. I wasn't wearing masks, and I was looking at people rather peculiar for doing so. One sister finally comes to mind, had her mask on. And I'm like, what is this? Because I wasn't up on the international news. And that's why we're so far behind that martial law is required. But it makes no difference if it's not declared a national state of emergency. We don't need this to be voluntary at this point. 31 days, it's at 80,000 in this country. And how many deaths? Like 4,000? I don't even know how many deaths. But we need for the nation to go the way of California and New York. And we need to take this far more seriously than we are. All it takes is one infection to come into your state for this thing to domino if you don't get a hold of your borders. Furthermore, let me go back to something earlier about these airports. I saw a woman come in from Italy, the epicenter at the time. We're now number one. She said no one in customs did anything about her, and they saw clearly that she had come from the epicenter. So what in the world are we doing? This is why folks ain't at the airport, because they weren't doing anything, just letting folks fly willy-nilly in and out of countries that were impacted under some foolish notion that this was a hoax, not taking any precautions as they let people come and go. I don't even know if they quarantined them. I've not seen anybody. Now, I don't watch mainstream media because they're such liars. That's one thing Trump gets right oftentimes. Fake news. I go
Amen,
to
sister.
YouTube to get my sources, okay? And I'm here to tell you, if there were people healing from this in the record numbers that they're reporting, why aren't they at least on YouTube being interviewed by me, by you, by Lovely T? Why haven't they reached out to Phil from the Advice Show, Tim Black? I'm not seeing any of that, but I'm seeing the numbers climb. And if this whole country doesn't go on lockdown, we are doomed. I'm done.
I am so sorry. People saying, Shirley, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Ah, that was my fault. That was my fault. But let me go back and try this again. I want to put this. I got to put this out there. Thank you, Flagship and Angela, for coming in. Flagship, if you want to come back in, you're more than welcome to. Let me try this again. I apologize, family. I did not realize I was on mute, but at least you guys are listening. Wow, let's try this again.
Similarities with the present situation. It is being quoted by conspiracy theorists. So it's closing down borders and opening up businesses. Fewer cases are being reported. Factories are up and running again.
Thank you,
Businesses will take time to revive, but they have made a start. Companies are being encouraged to make coronavirus supplies. They're making equipment other countries might need to fight the outbreak. Gloves, masks, personal protection equipment, even ventilators. So first, China put the world in ICU, and now it is selling them ventilators.
First, China put the world in ICU, and now they're selling us ventilators. Is China trying to prove that they are the pure capitalist? Because that's what they're doing. Are they making moves that we're not conscious of? Because first we had no gloves, we have no mask. I told you your mail is contaminated. Your money could be contaminated. And now China is now saying, oh, we good. And we know they lie. But they say we good. So now they're out there. All these foreign countries, like Angela had stated, are making products, and we're going to be buying them now because now they got us living in a pandemic. They have us living in fear. We got to be living in fear. That's a problem, family. Let's keep going.
Is China profiting from this outbreak? Business and the government now stands to gain in China. And if this sounds too sinister a plot, look at this. This is a book written in 1999, and this could offer clues into the Chinese mindset. It's called Unrestricted Warfare, China's Master Plan to Destroy America. It's a book on military strategy. It was written by two Chinese generals, Qiao Liang and Wang Xiangzu. The book makes an argument. It says that China cannot defeat America in a direct military confrontation, but it can leverage its economic prowess to leave the Americans behind. Now, the book's assessment has some eerie similarities with the present situation. It is being quoted by conspiracy theorists. They claim that amid this coronavirus crisis, Beijing is executing its world domination plan. On this show, we do not go by conspiracy theories to make our assessments. So we set out to look for the facts. What we found was most interesting, and we have that for you tonight. Let's first talk about the situation in China. What is happening in China right now? Restaurants, zoos, even the Great Wall is open to tourists. Not foreign tourists, because they may bring back the virus, but the Chinese are out and about. As we say in television, they're moving towards normalcy.
Now, they're saying they're moving towards normalcy, but I want to tell you, I don't believe they're moving towards normalcy. I think what they're doing is they're pandering because
factories are coming back.
They're pandering because they want to get paid. They want paid. They want to get the checks. They want to get it off of us because they're going to say, oh, we've reached the peak now. Now we're going to profitize off of you. But let me say this to you and make this clear across the world. The reason we have this pandemic, the reason why the virus is spreading so rapidly in America is because people don't wash their hands, because foreign people in other countries live here now. And we've got us in the mindset, like I showed you earlier videos, where we have these people who have scooters and bikes, and they are out here and they're discussing, and our Black people are homeless and our minds are gone. There are Black people who enjoy being homeless. That's a problem, family. That's a problem. Let me bring in Flagship. Flagship, what's your thought on what this lady just stated about making?
Well, I want to know what the book is so I can read it during the quarantine. That's what I want to read. I'm being for real because literally that sister girl that talked about the schools and stuff. Here's the thing. I don't mind China for their hustle. I think they act like little weak ass little punks right now with this whole reverse racism. I'm laughing at them like that, but then I'm like this. Being a victim can actually be used as a weapon of war. So they're using it as a weapon of war right now. They're playing as victims. But I want to know what this book is because I think Black folks, we need to read these books so we can start having this war mindset to get the hell up out of this damn situation. So and now regarding the immigration thing, of course they're different cultures and different creeds. And this is what pisses me off is that we can't ever say Black at all. Remember that girl, like I said the last show, that girl from the Honey Pot. She wanted to empower black girls. And the feminists went crazy. Now, mind you, this is the same feminist that was like 2 years ago. It was like, let's help the immigrants. I want to help Latina women, Latina, Hispanic. No problem. But whenever you want to say black, you can't be black. Remember, we were stripped of our hair culture. We were stripped of our music, even speak our language. But everybody gets to walk over here and be Senegalese and be Nigerian and be this and be that. But God forbid you speak jive or Creole. Oh, no. That's divisive. And I'm done. Get up out the goddamn paint. Start washing your hands, close the borders, and the ones that are here start washing their hands. And if they're here illegally, get them all out the paint and separate the damn families. I don't care. Cry me a river. I'm done. Take me to the king. I'll say it my damn self. I don't need Angela Rye speaking for me. I don't need no damn what's his name, Roland Martin speaking for me. Angela Bach can sit her behind down. You ain't even black. Let's get it. Let's keep it for real. Get the hell out the goddamn pay. You ain't ADOS. You ain't B1. You ain't fucking what's the thing? Foundation. You're on foundation. You ain't nothing. You nothing. Get about the goddamn pay. You don't
Black America.
speak for us.
FBI.
You don't speak for us. Get out the pay.
You do not speak for us. We need to be able to speak for ourselves. We no longer can say black and brown and let's all work together. You're talking about a culture of people that don't assimilate and they segregate them from us. Fast forward. Let's talk about today. I want to show you this article today. Thank you guys for letting me know about the sound. I really want to make a point clear. I want you to understand that this article is saying right now there are jail and fine mandates if you don't do self-isolation. Now, listen to me. I know many of you guys are saying, look, President Trump says it's a voluntary, and they're telling you that it's not. Let me play this article for you so that you can hear it.
Get all the latest news on coronavirus and more delivered daily to your inbox. Sign up here. A number of states and localities have warned residents of punishments for those ignoring the state and federal imposed rules to social distance in an effort to curb the spread of the novel coronavirus. The punishments range from fines to jail time.
So what are the punishments? Well, let's start with Alaska. Every state's got something different. Alaska does this one. I'm going to play each one and we'll talk about each one.
Alaska is threatening up to 1 year in jail and a fine up to $25,000 for residents violating the rules. For people visiting from out of state, no matter which state you come from, Alaska orders that you self-quarantine for 14 days.
Now, let me make this clear. We don't have borders in the state, or do we? Oh my God. Do you guys get this? We are now setting up borders state by state by state. I told you this was coming. I told you the quarantine was coming, and now you don't believe it. But what they're saying is this. You cannot cross state lines or you will be fined. Okay. We told you to stay in your home. We're going to fine you for not saying it says for your residence. So let's say you say, I'm going to drive to another state. Now you can't drive to Alaska, but if you drive somewhere or go out of your resident area, they're going to fine you. And then when you move, they're going to quarantine you because what? You left your location. What about the people of Chicago? Let's hear what they have to say about that.
Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot threatened last week to take Chicago residents into custody if they violate city rules. Lightfoot also warned residents against going on long runs or bike rides in the city's latest effort to crack down on the spread of COVID-19.
So basically, you can't take bike rides. You can't walk to the beach. You heard Angela earlier saying, I want to take bike ride. Lightfoot is also warned residents against going on long runs and bike rides. Lightfoot. What is Lightfoot? That means you can't even maybe walk to the back of the inn and back and forth.
No, that's her last name.
Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, that's her last name, Lightfoot. Lori Lightfoot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it's still like a Lightfoot moving. I'm glad you corrected me on that.
She is disgusting as well. She is utterly disgusting in every way from top to bottom.
We all know Chicago is all messed up. Let's move to Colorado, people.
Colorado.
Okay.
Residents violating the state orders can receive a misdemeanor, up to 1 year in jail, and up to a $1,000 fine.
Now we're hearing money behind all this. If you break the law and leave your house, we've heard of $25,000, and this one's $1,000. Go ahead, Flagship.
And let's just be clear here. they're not going to Vivian and Tad's neighborhood enforcing this. Let's keep it 100, people. And unto all the colonizers that listen to your show, let's keep it a buck. You ain't got to worry about all this. They gonna come to they gonna go to Shirley neighborhood. They gonna come to my neighborhood. They going to Angela neighborhood. They going to even the Boule blacks. What's those people in LA? What's that area in LA where the rich black folks live?
Leimert Park,
Leimert Park, Adams Avenue. They gonna be the ones. They gonna get them. They gonna get the rich niggas, the Boule Negroes. So let's keep it 100%. This is just another layer that we got to deal with. And just like Lisa Cabrera said, all this, and they're going to start putting people in jail. Now, mind you, this is what Lisa Cabrera talks about: non-violent offenses. Everything, majority of black men that are in jail are for non-violent petty crimes. That makes up like almost 85%. Non-violent petty crimes. This is just another layer just to get folks in trouble.
I mean, you're speaking truth to power. You're speaking truth to power. You know, the interesting part about this is, again, as we say we haven't come to a peak, we see more walls being built up. We're talking about the border walls. Now we're talking about the state walls. Now we're going to talk about the city walls. And there's the city walls because, look, they're charging you fines. Let's hear about what's going on in Florida. And if you cross over from Florida to New York and New Jersey.
People visiting from out of state are ordered to self-quarantine for 14 days. Especially if coming from the New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut area. If violated, those people are subject to up to 60 days in jail and a $500 fine.
Now we're starting to see a pattern here, my family. If you leave and go visit your grandmother, you better do it now. Your cousin better do it now. It might be just too late.
And remember,
they have not stopped domestic flight, though. They've not stopped domestic travel, meaning that you can still fly. But according to the way this is moving, I think you can get penalized for it. Go ahead.
Well, and again, you know, they're not stopping domestic travel. And who flies domestically most of the time? That's mostly Anglo right there. Now, and who drives most? Now, mind you, black folks, let's all take a step back. Haven't we seen this before? I mean, let's just break it down real quick. Haven't we seen these laws before? Remember the whole thing that happened in New Orleans? When black folks had owned property in the neighboring town and county, they tried to go to when New Orleans was underwater, they tried to go to their other house. They tried to go to their family house, their auntie house. They were getting shot.
Remember that?
Your sound is moving off. Absolutely.
So we're seeing hello?
I can hear you now.
Will you hear me?
Yes.
Are you hear me?
Yes.
Hold on.
He can't hear us.
Hold on 1 second.
No problem. You know, I'm going to go ahead and read the one from Hawaii so that you get your sound together. Let's
hold on 1 second.
Hawaii.
My earpiece just kind of messed up.
Residents are subject to a misdemeanor up to 1 year in jail and up to a $5,000 fine if they violate orders. Those visiting the state from out of town must self-quarantine for at least 14 days.
So 14 days seems to be the going pattern with a lot of these state governors because, again, President Trump said it's volunteer, but the governor says something different. And that's the point of this video, that you guys got to operate. When you're looking at the news, like Angela said, you need to look at global news. I showed Sky News earlier. I like watching Sky News. I like watching that news I showed you earlier with the lady from India. You have to understand they have a different perspective. They're going to show you different peaks in different countries. But when it comes to you personally, you need to be knowing what's going on within your state. Because if you know what's going on in your state, you won't jeopardize any laws. Because the more we see of this, the more we're learning we're going to be locked down. Let me tell you another thing that's going to lock you down that we've not talked about. Because you live in a high density area, like apartments and condos and houses that are close to a high movement areas, those are the areas that they're going to have high patrols in because they know they're high density. LA County is high density. That means that there's a lot of people saturated and living there. Here's another red flag for you. If you're in an apartment and the units in your apartment are all ran by the same ventilator, you could get a COVID-19 because you're inhaling air that other people have inhaled. You are basically sharing the same air as the space that you live in. So you might want to walk outside or think about your living right now. Yeah, you can't do nothing because y'all in the situation. We all in it, right? We can't do nothing now. But when we do come out, which I have faith in God, we will. I'm not going to be I'm a hopeless romantic. One thing you'll learn about me, I have a lot of strong, opinionated people on my show. But I am a hopeless romantic and I am a woman of God and I do have faith in God. And he told us to prepare for this. This reminds me of the story of the women with the oil in the lamp. Many of us are not prepared. So when we go to the storehouse, we're trying to raid everything there. But if you had been preparing and watching my videos when I told you this could be coming, the health and sanitation, the typhus, the black plague, I've been talking about this for years, not months, for years. All of this is a concoction of a bad cocktail of viruses that are coming upon us in our communities. Going back to where you live. If you live in a high density area, you are more likely to see patrol compared to someone in Mojave or Palmdale, Lancaster, talking about California. Not that they won't be there, but wherever you're going to see high density amount of people, meaning those who are in apartments or condos or houses within those areas, you're more likely subject to seeing seizures that will not let you get out. You don't have any backyard. You don't have any porches or things to walk upon. You're going to lose your mind. You're going to have to find a way to structure your time and to pace yourself through this process. What many of you don't know is many people in Los Angeles live in bunk beds in the kitchen. We have people who have bunk beds in the kitchen. So I know they are wanting you to break your rules. There are going to be people who are not going to hold to the rules that we're reading right now. These are state by state rules governed by the governor of your state, by the state leaders. This is not the president. This is the state leaders. Let me read Hawaii and then I'm going to go back to flagship in a second.
In Hawaii, residents are subject to a misdemeanor, up to 1 year in jail and up to a $5,000 fine if they violate orders. Those visiting the state from out of town must self-quarantine for at least 14 days. In Maryland, residents can receive a misdemeanor, up to 1 year in jail and up to a $5,000 fine if they violate orders.
Flagship, what is this 1 year in jail? Because you decide to step out, you're gonna have to get an attorney. Now I can hear Karen right now saying you don't have to do that. Go ahead and walk out. You have rights. I think sometimes folks forget we're Black. Because if we did operate on knowing we do have the rights because the president says we are not quarantined, the governors and the laws of the state are operating in a different pattern. Talk to me, Flagship. What's your thought on that? I think you went out the stream. Let me go ahead and put you back in. Because, I think that's the key thing that we have to think about. If we're going to be, you're back in. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm back. Okay. So the question was regarding the jail sentencing.
Well, here's this pattern that we're seeing of $5,000 in 1 year. And President Trump says this is a volunteer. He says this is a volunteer quarantine, but we're seeing that the governors are laying other existing laws, jail time, restrictions of space of movement, how far you can go. And we're also seeing extra days of quarantine added to you because you decide to move across state lines.
Yep.
That's an issue. I'm seeing the patterns of the jail. Why even enforce and create new laws of registration and regulation in this manner?
Well, absolutely, because these are how these Democrats are rolled. Notice the states that you mentioned that are really enforcing these things are mostly Democratic states or states that have high Black population. This is not for everybody. This is going to be only against us. Period. And the thing is, the coronavirus the virus is doing damage right now. We need to control it. But the bottom line here is there needs to be consistency with the federal government and consistency with state government. Because all these people that are in jail, especially Black men, they're in jail. They're mostly in jail for state crimes. The 1994 crime bill, those are majority state crimes. Majority of it,
and
all state crimes.
Do you guys hear what Flagship is saying? Especially the African American community. That's why some of these communities, I've told you guys, y'all need to move. Because you're nothing but walking target in Chicago. You ain't nothing but a walking target in Detroit, in Atlanta. You need to evaluate your situation now that you quarantine and you watching this video. And I know you sharing and getting the thumbs up. Get the thumbs up. Black family first. Let's support each other and subscribe. And if you want to make a donation, I appreciate it. Thank God for all those. DM, I love you. You've been kicking ass, giving me so much money tonight. I don't know what to do. Put pearls or diamonds on, bro. I thank you for that. But let's be honest and be real with each other. Listen to what Flagship is saying. If we are in a high density area where we're targets, you know that Target game where you see that man and you're supposed to shoot him? That's what they have in these states right now. And now they're putting another layer of laws because they know you can't, they know you like a genie in a bottle. You want to get out. I want out. And like he said, they're setting up in these communities where they know you are going to defy the law. And defying the law could get you 1 year in jail.
Or make sure that you defy the law by going in there. Like that video, I think it was, oh God, what was his name? Anyways, I forgot the guy's name, but it was this guy who was leaving brunch, minding his own business, no criminal record. And the police just rolled up on set with guns. Oh, you have a warrant. And so they tased him. The tase didn't, he was complying. He was complying. He put his hands above his head. He said, I surrender. They tased him anyway, just because he was black. Oh, well, allegedly. Allegedly, that's not the reason, but that's, we already know what it is. Then the guy, so then he was complying. They'll get ready to handcuff him. The one officer's going to handcuff him. The other officer stepped back and drop kicked him in the back. He didn't see it coming. So when he lost his balance, they considered that resisted arrest. They slammed him to the ground and then took him in for resisted arrest. Do you know that the guy didn't even, that's what they do to us. That's why I don't believe in, that's what they do to us. And the thing is, it's not, and everyone doesn't go through this. Tad, Bo, Becky, and Vivian, you're not going to ever go through this. That's going to be me. That's going to be Shirley's kids, Kiki's daughter. That's going to be a Tree of Logic's family. That's going to be Diamond and Silk's family. That ain't going to be y'all. So the thing is, this is just another little layer just to go ahead and get us up in jail because crime is down in the Black community overall. Crime overall is down, and they gotta get that free prison. Like Lisa Cabrera said, they gotta get that free prison labor done. They're using this epidemic to add extracurricular activities going on, and I'm done. I'm done with this.
Absolutely. After this video is done, I am going to post this article so that you guys can go back and read it. I'm just going to play a couple more and then I'm going to switch over.
People visiting from out of state must self-quarantine for at least 14 days. New Hampshire, those visiting the Greenwich State from any other state in the nation are required to self-quarantine for at least 14 days. New York City NYC Mayor Bill de Blasio said Tuesday that he had authorized the New York Police Department to issue fines of $250 and $500 for New Yorkers who don't get it and are ignoring social distancing guidelines.
So there's patterns. Texas is a little different. Texas says that you can be violated up to $1,000 and 180 days in prison. It didn't say jail. It said prison. Y'all need to follow these rules. Here's another one. Washington, I guess state is saying that you can get fined up to $5,000 and up to 360 days a year in prison. Another one said Washington, D.C. said 90 days. This is scary, family, because we see socialism in a way we've never seen it. This is what you say you wanted socialism. You like Bernie Sanders. You like all these crazy people, Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, Eric Garcetti. These are local people in California. All of these people promote this agenda, stand behind this agenda. And where do we get out of this? Where are we going to go after this? Because they know that they still want to meet those numbers through those privatized prisons. So if we increase the bottle and tighten the core, you can't get out. You quarantine like this water. See this water? You quarantine, right? If they're telling you you can't go out and pour a little water out, because if you pour this water out and you were supposed to get out, you can get fined and they're going to tighten you up and they're going to put you in this bottle in jail for a year. Did anybody sign up for this? No, we didn't sign up for this. Are we living a nightmare? In some ways we are. In some ways we are. Flagship, talk to me.
No, I was just listening. I think you hit the nail right on the head. My thing is, I think the best thing that we need to do is, like right now, is as Black people, we need to use this quarantine. First of all, if you're unemployed, you need to be applying for your unemployment benefits. That's what we got to do immediately. But we need to also try to raise our game. If like you said, learn a skill, read some books. Get your resume together. So when everything is uplifted, we can get out there and get popping. Now, one thing, actually, Shirley, just one quick second. I have to go pick up this drink real quick. Hold on one second.
No problem. So
I'll
if
come
we
right
talk
back in like
about the
1 minute.
opportunities, I appreciate it. If we talk about the opportunities that are out there, what should you do? Many of you guys saying, I don't know ways I could make money. They are letting you go around town if you have issues where you get permissions from your job and your boss. You need to make sure you have a letter. You need to make sure that you have an essential job. What is an essential job? You work for the stores, you work for the hospitals. Your job requires you to come in, and your job boss gave you a letter. So if you're a self-owned business like myself, you might want to get the company to use the company letterhead and print it out, and so that you walk around with a piece of paper. I feel like we're back in slave days. Well, I'm a free Negro, so let me just go ahead and take my papers out. I'm a free Negro. I got my papers. So not only do you need your driver's license, you need to tell them the reason why you decide to drive across the state, if they'll allow you to do that. Because what we're seeing is they're already telling you that you will be fined if you cross the state. Another thing that I want you to keep in mind, family, that you need to do, if you say, I need some extra money, I would encourage you to talk to your local church owners and church leaders and ask them, can we help the elderly Black people? Because I'm finding out there's places online that will deliver food and they charging $70. That's not fair. That's not fair to good working American people who can't get out. It's not fair to our people that they're treated that way. You need to start looking after your own people, because you're finding out that there's capers out there. There's people like Nancy Pelosi who's out there caping for the Asian community, and nobody's caring for the American. We have to think about America first. And if we're not going to do that, we got a problem. Go ahead, Flagship.
Thank you so much. My whole thing is, I am sick and tired. If I hear this alleged, keyword alleged, I'm gonna say this one more time, keyword alleged, anti-Asian bigotry or racism, I'm literally going to just drive into a damn gas container. I'm done hearing these idiots. Mind you, let's keep it 100%. And go get the receipts. January 2019 or December 2018, there was an $800 million stimulus package for small Asian businesses. It was an executive order by President Trump. Remember that, Shirley? Do you vaguely remember that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, so you talked about it. Okay, so they just got a stimulus package. Mind you, these are the model minority, and that's what I cannot stand. These model minorities are the biggest welfare queens ever, because the thing is, Black people, we're the biggest capitalists in the world. We're the only group that had our cities burnt down. We rebuilt them with no money. We didn't even get our insurance premiums. We got burnt down, rebuilt, burnt down, rebuilt. They killed businesses. We made new ones. We're the only capitalists in here. So these model minorities are the biggest welfare queens in the history of the world. I mean, Mei Ling and Chong Kong are the biggest recipients of welfare, period. And then they're getting now $8 billion for some alleged racism. I'm sorry, you nasty. You got scorpions and dogs in your market with squid. We don't mess with you. And that's my choice. That's not anti-Black racism. That's you being nasty. And so talk about taking care of our own. First thing we need to do is we need to call out the bull crap. First and foremost, rule number one, you can't say that you're racist. We need to own this. We need to own this racism market in order to harness ourselves to get our reparations of what we're due. I'm sick and tired of everyone. Rule number one, we need to get everyone out of the mix. It's not anti-Black, it's not anti-Asian racism too. If you don't like America, get your things. Go ahead and get your things, get your Buddha statue, and go ahead. You're not required here. Bye. And now they're getting more money. I'm done. Get out the damn pay. We can't get one school open.
A lot of it's because our state leaders are not caring about America first. I gotta give President Trump a lot of credence, because how many times have we heard him say, "Make America great again"? And we kind of get burnt out on it. But I have to be honest, in 2016, I felt many people did not believe in that statement. They didn't believe in that notion that America needed to be made great again. And as you can see, from what we're learning from these other countries, that these people are not clean, and we're dealing with the repercussion of it, and we're not staying clean. Let me show you another video about what's going on in our communities in Los Angeles that keeps us in this situation. Let me show you. Well, I'm telling you, by doing your state and your area to turn into this green renovation, you're going to have high density. more and more homeless people. And if you don't think homeless people are real, let me show you what I'm saying. See these cars?
Oh, Shirley.
Now, when I go past the bicycles, in the middle of the walkway, see where I'm walking? See me walking? Where am I walking past? Can I keep walking? Who knows what people are doing? See, none of this is better. It's not a road. It's just a road. It is not a road. That's another lie to tell you. It's a road. This is a road. This is everywhere in fucking LA. Excuse me for cursing. It's so sad. You can't help these people.
But Shirley, the big issue is that we keep voting for these same people over and over and over and over again. And the thing is, Shirley, these Democrats and these liberals keep showing us who they are. When are we gonna stop believing them? They're not good for us. They're not good for us.
And I agree with you. Listen, but I agree with you. But this is also the problem. Our minds are gone. I want you to hear this video of this black man who's homeless right here. His mind is gone. We keep saying we keep voting. We keep voting. They just stole our votes. Let me tell you the 411. Right now, they use dead people to vote in California. Right now, they vote illegally. The illegals can vote. You don't need no ID to vote in California. The whole damn thing is rigged. It's rigged.
Yep.
There are many people out there right now trying to stop this voter fraud. And so when I hear people from different states tell me, well, you know, you in California, you get what you get because that's why you guys voted. Not necessarily so. We are this way because we have fraudulent voting.
But even not just in California, even in the southern states too. Everyone's voting Democrat. Every black person voting Democrat.
We have the we have 55 electoral votes. So we have a high power voting team here. We are the 5th or 8th, we between 5 and the 8th largest economy in the world. Okay. The numbers go back and forth. So we have a lot of money, we have a lot of people, and we have a lot of power. So in saying all of that, California is the template for the rest of the country. It has always been the template for the rest of the country. So when people come and tell me, well, you know, look at California. California is going to be the one that infested everyone else. But look how we've abandoned these black people. Watch this video. I want to show you a segment of this brother here. His mind is gone. Who's winning the game, bro? How you doing, Jim? Oh, man. You guys like playing chess?
God.
Hello, chess. This is a great game.
Oh, Shirley. Come on, Shirley. This is a shame. Oh, gosh.
I'm sorry, sir. What? Have I had a winner? What's a winner? Oh. No, I ain't playing some time. I'm surprised y'all don't even have a timer going off. Why ain't you got no timer? Don't let them stay too long. Keep them moving. Now let me bring you word up on game. See this black man in the back? You can't see.
Let me
show you this brother back here. He rolling the blunt. Y'all can't see this, but this man right here with the white shirt on, he rolling the blunt. These brothers here, they playing chess, and this brother in the back, he talking about he's okay with the fact. So he got his blunt rolled up, and I asked him a question. I want you to hear the question. Wow, I definitely will check you out. Well, you know, I appreciate you. What do you think we can do to do better? What can we do to tell people nationwide how bad it is? Because people don't believe it. They believe this is normal. This is just a couple of pocket of areas. It's like the whole thing's going this way. He says it's temple. I know the sound is hard to hear.
It's a what?
You said you don't think the. Hold on, I'll repeat it. So the tent is a good choice to live in. This way of living is a good choice to live in.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
He said, yeah, it's a great choice because the United States will let you do this. When you grew up, when you grew up as a kid, did you grow up in a tent? When you grew up as a kid, did you grow up in a tent? Did your father and mother, were they together? Did they raise you in a tent? He said, we had a house, but he said, this is the choice that I choose.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay, Shirley, I can't.
So I can save some money on rent. Now, look, I'm going to come back another day and show you that video. But I had to show you that much of that video because I want you to understand the mind of California.
The mind, yes.
So you're going to tell me when I hear people come in and chime in and constantly telling me that California is allowing itself to be like this, we need intervention. This is why you hear people like Flagship and Angela, and shout out to all the ladies who were on earlier on the channel. I appreciate it. Thank you, Karen Watson. And people asked which Karen that was. That was Karen Watson out of Dallas, Texas. You guys can find her on Facebook. She is an author and a writer and a scholar of what is going on within the community of her state. Angela's on ADOS. She has started a foundation that basically talks about PAC, for building acknowledgement of reparations that we need. And as you know, Miss Ashley, who's known as Sherry on here, and Miss Ashley is in education. And of course, we had Andrea, who was a mom with 3 kids. Well, if we look at the fact, we as Black people, we as a nation of people are suppressed mentally, physically, and emotionally. What do you think we need to do? Because you heard a lot of opinions on this show today. What we just saw was disgusting and a displacement. And by the way, those people are not in hotels. We still have a large population of downtown LA right now that are outside in this COVID-19, and they're lying and talking about they housed them because, like Flagship said, we put the illegal immigrants prior to American people. The Black colonists that you just saw on the streets, ain't nobody giving a red flag for them. Ain't nobody saying, bruh, let's get all these people up and throw all this shit that you see on the streets, excuse me for cursing, into the trash can. Let's take all this trash and that stuff. That's their cherished goods, because they don't understand their minds are gone. So if we don't have mental facilities, we're not providing shelter for them. We're nothing but walking targets. Go ahead, Flagship.
Okay. But Shirley, the thing is, I'm gonna say something that's gonna be controversial, but it is what it is. We gotta let them brothers go. We gotta let it go. Right now, we can't save everybody. We gotta let them go. Remember, now, mind you, the worst movie one of the worst movies I saw in recent years, it was actually the last one I went to the movie theater, was Black Panther. And because I saw the game that they was playing on us. But the thing is like when you are on a mission, you have to go in and you're in a war mentality. There has to be self-sacrifice. You have to have that agreement prior to the plan being implemented. Now, there was a part in the movie where it was Killmonger, his wife, and what's that demon's name? The German demon. They only had one arm. And so Killmonger, so the plan, he already got all the stuff that he needed. He was going to take his kingdom and take the throne to save his people. Go ahead on, Killmonger. He was a hero in the movie. I mean, that's a whole different situation, but anyways. And so his girl got caught up. They had an agreement. We're not going to sacrifice the people for saving me. They probably had real good sex before they start the mission, just last thing, because they got to get in the war mindset. So he killed her. And then he killed that demon, because the bottom line is, if he would have saved her, the demon would have got away. Guess what? You probably wouldn't have had that opportunity again, and you wouldn't have been able to save your people. Now you know the coons and the bootlegs. They say, "Oh, he was misogyny." No, that's how you win. Just look up how do you think Princess Yesenia of Angola, how her husband died? Because he got captured, and she had a choice: do I go save my man or do I save my people? That's why Angola was not conquered. That's how we have to have that mindset. Get your plans together. And that's the same thing with these brothers. We got to let them brothers go. Bye. Hopefully, maybe once we get things popping, on the next go around, we can go and scoop them up and go play a game of chess. And we can give them a better and give them a better 10 or something like that. But we cannot save that brother right now. That'll be a waste of time. We need to hook up with Shirley and people of like minds, and we got to get our economic base together. We have to get our military base together. We got to start raising warriors. We got to stop teaching our kids how to do death drops, shake their ass, and chop their dicks off at age 5. I don't know where in the hell we thought the LGBTQ was going to be the T. There ain't no damn T. Miss me with that bullshit. So that's what we got to start doing. I'm done with this. Those brothers got to go. We got to let them go. But Shirley, you were shady as hell. You asked them, did you grow up in a tent? What's wrong with you? You shady as hell. You shady as hell.
Excuse me, sir. Did you grow up in a tent? Is this a lifestyle that is known to your community? When your parents raised you as a child and you needed shelter, How was it provided for you? A house or a tent? Was
Shirley, I gotta be.
was weed a regular operating device that was passed among your people? Tell
But
me.
Shirley, but hold on. But Shirley, we gotta talk about something else too. We also gotta talk about the psychology, because here's the thing: when you start studying psychology, you can test people's willpower to keep trying to reinvent themselves. And for the body politic of Black people, you keep getting all you keep getting all these booby traps, as you talked about before. Booby traps. They're break chess. You just can't play chess. That's a hard ass game. Period.
I gotta read the chat room real quick. Eric says yes, bye. He agrees with you, but then Mona says Shirley's trying to get this man to think. I was trying to get him to think. I don't know if he could think because he was smoking weed and he was cleaning his feet. I'm like, but why are you cleaning your feet?
Here's the thing.
He ain't got no water.
But here's the thing. Right, but here's the thing. They've already been defeated, and that's what white supremacy is about. It's about defeating you. Remember what I told y'all about how these teachers, because like one of the things that no one talks about is the fact that and like I said before, in school you get suspended for wearing your natural hair. That messes up your psyche as a 5-year-old, because you think you're going to school, you're feeling good about yourself, and you're being told that you're ugly in essence. And then you don't do well on tests because you're not being taught appropriately. And so you're constantly being beat down. Then you get to the real world and you're winning in corporate America, but then you don't get the promotion. That mess with your psyche. And so these booby traps and these things that mess with your psyche, those brothers is gone. They've given up. And that's how and when you study psychology, you'll study all these different tools, and that's what policy does. These policies from these damn liberals and these Democrats, they mess up the psyche of Black people, and that's why they can't mess with it. That's why they can't give us reparations, because the thing is, they saw us throughout history build stuff from nothing. They can't give us no reparations because we don't need everybody. All we need is a critical mass.
What's the solution? I mean, really, I posted this video it was a year ago, and it got 27,000 views, 700 people. Ain't nobody reached out to me and said, Shirley, I watch your videos of these homeless people in California. I'm sorry for you. I'll be praying. Next. I get that every time. I'm praying for y'all. Y'all don't understand. Faith without works is dead. That's what the scriptures say.
The solution is reparation. Reparation is the solution.
But faith without works is dead. There got to be some works put in place. You got to make some operational moves. I've done my part. I have laid down the cards. I have put out the receipts, and ain't nobody picking up these batons and get these people out of office. And the first thing that Black people need to be demanding is get these homeless people off the street and stop supporting illegal immigration and stop supporting immigration. These people come here, they open up business, and this is how we living right now. Like this Black man sitting there smoking weed on a parking lot saying this is his regular spot. I'm gonna post this video later on so you guys can watch the whole thing. But he's basically saying this is my spot, ain't nobody bother me. Look, I got his shoes off like he at home. He got his shoes off. He at home.
He's given up. He's given up.
He's given up. And I think that's what we all don't realize there.
And honestly, Shirley, honestly, I know that. I mean, I haven't given up to that level, but every Black person in your chat, because you got a lot of sophistication, because your chat room is full of sophistication. Everyone here got, for the most part, everyone here got jobs of a sophistication level. They probably make over like $50,000, $60,000 at least, make over that. They're well read, they're astute, they're in tune to what's going on. And I'm pretty sure everyone can agree with me that you busted your butt in the workplace. You got passed over not once, not twice, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. You've done everything right. You've done even more than that. You've trained, mentored, and developed people, made them great, and you just can't go to the top. And maybe you didn't give up to where you're homeless, but you just gave up, working, staying that extra hour off the clock to impress your bosses. Maybe you didn't do the extra work. Maybe you didn't do all these tangible, and you just like gave up. You know what I mean? So we all have.
No, and that's true. But I think even if you
get a reparation,
we go ahead.
Two, we got the thing is we got this election cycle. We either vote for Trump or not vote, because the thing is, if we vote down ballot, you're gonna still be voting for the same Democrats who are the local level going to be doing the same bullcrap that's causing stuff now. We got to not vote at all. To let.
Now you're
I'm
giving
sorry.
solutions. You're giving solutions, but I want to pivot and go into strategy, because if I said in my earlier videos, everybody needs to learn how to play chess. They need to learn how to play backgammon. Let me show you a chess move at the Cheesecake Factory. Flagship, hold your horses. This one's gonna shock you a little bit. Let me show you what white corporate America does. When they got money, I'm gonna show you what they do with their money. Now, we always give and we always care. We trying to pay our bills on time. We trying to do the right thing. Let me tell you what big corporate America does when it's in crises. Listen to what Kevin said. I want you to see this video real quick. And I gotta play it for you.
I saw something on the internet. Cheesecake Factory told its landlords they're not going to be paying rent for April. And it's not funny. It's just like, imagine the Cheesecake Factory being like, bro, you think I'm selling cheesecake right now at a time like this? I ain't selling no cheesecake. This means you got 788 pages and we can't sell none of that right now. You understand me? How am I going to be able to pay the rent? Like they said, look, I ain't got it. Like here's the official letter. And I could read it verbatim, but what's the fun in that? I'm going to read it how I felt like they would have wrote it. Listen, dear landlord, you know what's going on with that Rona. I ain't got it. You understand me? The government basically said we had to close all our restaurants. Some of them we could do takeout. Most of them we can't do nothing. Ain't no cheesecake being sold. This is unprecedented time right now. I ain't got nothing. You understand me? Nothing. I ain't got no Postmate, no Uber Eats, no nothing. Due to this unfortunate circumstance, if I ain't got no money, how am I gonna give you some? I'm broke. You understand me? I'm broke. So look, I want your patience. And frankly, I don't have it for April. And I might not have it for May or June. So when I get a little bit, I'll give you a little bit. Don't be expecting the full thing, bro, because there ain't nothing being sold right now. I don't know what's happening right now. Man, this is crazy. The CDC said we closed, but they ain't sending no bread. Ain't no brown bread being sold, so I ain't got no bread to give you. So look,
wow.
You looking up? I'm gonna hit y'all back. Till then, don't hit my phone. And this is why this is interesting to me.
Listen,
America as a whole is a paycheck to paycheck country, and it took COVID-19 for me to realize it. The airlines, they were 3-4 days. They're like, bro, you gotta bail us out. Like y'all ain't saving no money. All them plane tickets, all them baggage fees, all them flight change fees, y'all didn't save no money. Y'all need to bail out in 3-4 weeks. Like, man, already? I need 50 billion. We just spent less than a month. Nobody got it in America. The workers living paycheck to paycheck, the businesses living paycheck to paycheck, and America as a whole is borrowing the money from other countries. So we as a country living paycheck to paycheck. So I don't want nobody to shame nobody. We all ain't got it, bro. We all in this together. We together as a unit ain't got it. I ain't got no show. Sally man still email me. Hey man, you understand me? You can email us and pay me, give us a little man. Shut up! You see me working right now?
Oh wait.
Cut my own hair. I can't even see my barber. The lineup ain't clean. It really is crazy, bro.
You know, it's interesting about this video. My son said, and he said, celebrities ain't, not that Kevin's a celebrity. Shout out to him. I'm going to put his post his video at the end of this. If you guys have not heard of Kev on Stage, that's Kev on Stage. He's got a great channel, and you guys should follow him. Look, my son said it clear to me. He said, "Mama, the machine ain't on." I said, "What do you mean?" These celebrities that are online, having their.
He's the one that does.
Huh? I'm sorry. What you say?
I said, is that the one that does those holy dance praise breaks?
Yeah.
Is that the guy who does those holy dance praise breaks?
Yes. But you know, I was sharing the story.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is. Right. I was sharing the fact that my son was talking about how celebrities don't have the machine. People feel spoiled to make themselves look so good online. You know, their hair, their makeup, having all these entourage. You ain't got no entourage. You gonna find out a lot of people gonna gain a lot of weight because of this. They won't let you walk up and down the street. The best you can do is walk on your backyard if you got a backyard to walk in. The best thing you can do right now is get yourself a treadmill if you can, because if they lock us down 2 more months, you're gonna lose your mind. You better find out some activity that you can go to Walmart and buy something real quick. Get you some essentials and see if you can pick it up or have it delivered by Amazon. Because now Amazon's been told they're only going to be sending these essentials, and some of the other items they're not going to do. Flagship, you're ready to end the show, but tell me, what's your last thought on this subject matter? We have the regulations coming in from the state level. Please be careful, family. I want you to understand you can go to jail now for walking outside your front door. This is real. This is the kind of America I just never thought I would live in my lifetime.
Well, the thing is that I really like. Right? Okay. Can I just? Are you there? You hear me? You hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to. Can I say something really quickly? I listen to a lot of people that talk about what is the future for, where's the world going, and since we have this quarantine, we should be having our kids, our black children, our black boys, and our black girls focused, especially since we're at home, and we know that school ain't teaching them something because the homeschool curriculum really doesn't help them out. We should be having our kids, besides learning Black history, so they know and love themselves, love their skin color, love their hair, and so on and so forth. We should be teaching our kids about finance and blockchain technology and coding, because that's all the future. Blockchain technology and coding is the future, and all different applications. It goes to applications of artificial intelligence. So we need to be using this time for and also this will help us out, so we don't have to worry about our kids being caught up by the police and scooped up and getting $1,000 fine, $25,000 fine, or even getting shot, because we still getting shot. Let's not forget that. And so we should have our kids focus on Black history, reading Black history, doing games and applications with the kids, and then blockchain and coding. You guys got smartphones. Guess what? You can take those classes and do coding on your phone and do the exercises on your phone. And everyone can got a smartphone, especially in the Black community. Let's keep it a buck. So this is a great time to empower ourselves, and we can literally take over this industry 20 years from now. We start now with our kids.
I totally agree with you. Well, thank you for being on. You always add a lot of depth, a lot of subject, a lot of energy, which I love about you. You are so on fire, and we look forward to having you on our next show. As I said before, you guys, with every action is a reaction. For every non-action is the aftermath. We are taking each day of the aftermath of bad decision-making, lawmakers who have allowed immigrants to come here, unclean sanitation rules to be leveraged, water heaters and heaters not on, we're not washing like we should. This is now affecting our communities. And unless we wake up and stay encouraged with one another, communicating with one another, sharing this information. Let me say this again. If you have never watched my show before, please watch some of my previous shows. See the comment section underneath below. Make sure that you click the little arrow and you can find the videos that I show within my video, and make this a conversation. Have social media parties and say, you know, I want to show Shirley. I might have agreement with her, or I might disagree with her and watch T West, or I might let T West. I might go to Afro Synergy News or African Diaspora channel. Shout out to Phil from the Advice Show or Vicky Diller. We need to start supporting a lot of other voices in the Black community. You guys need to reprogram yourself. Since you're quarantined anyway, you might as well start learning some of the other YouTubers who are receipt driven like myself. We got data, we got receipts, we have opinions. You know, allegedly we have things that we want to share with you. And I think it's right that you do your homework and your due diligence to find out the truth that is affecting you and your community. Look, again, President Trump says the quarantine is volunteer, but each governor and each state are starting to implement laws that are very scary and questionable. The fact that they are enforcing martial law upon us on a local level by telling us that you will go to jail for up to a year. You will get financial fines. You need to show that you are a resident of a location. All this government regulation and the movement between the police within our communities are real now. It's too late. If you decide to go somewhere, you can't go now. You are quarantined until further notice. So what do you do with all this time? Don't let your mind stay idle. Stop sleeping in so much. Set up a schedule for yourself to do something. If it's to exercise, practice putting your makeup on, ladies, do your hair, watch YouTube how to do tutorials, learn how to cook, find quiet time, learn to meditate. Play meditation tapes, learn to read scriptures, do something to keep your mind not to be idle. Don't play video games all day, please, people. Don't be on your phone playing games all day, because I know we all can do that and play poker and be enjoying that. But the reality is we still could be moving forward. Do not let this time stagnate you in what you need to accomplish. Find a way to find people like yourself. You might want to filter some people out of your life. You need to make a list of the good and the bad in your life and say, you know what? I've had time to evaluate, organize my rooms, clean some offices, clean some bathrooms, have one-on-one time with each one of your children or family members on some things you wanted to discuss in a patient and a calm manner. There's a lot you can do that you don't need to be running up and down these streets. Watch how you're eating, because we're all gaining weight. We can't move. So I don't eat a lot. I ain't worried about my weight. You're not moving in the same pattern or manner that you were before. Where before, when you would work out or walk, it didn't matter what you eat, but you're not walking now. Your body is storing fat and your body is not moving. So for those of us who are full-figure sisters who got it all going on, trust me, I understand. I have to be careful, and so do you. So I want to leave you with those words of encouragement. If you like this video and you love me doing these videos, I need you to share. I need to get my numbers up. My goal is to get my subscribers up to 5,000 this year. I believe that we can do this as a team. This is not a one-man show. This is an effort of us working together. I need you to get these videos so that we can get up into the thousands, that we can start talking about subject matters that are effective for us and not detrimental towards us. Because all this celebrityism right now, all these celebrity blogs that you guys watch, they can't go nowhere either. Whatever they're talking about is irrelevant because they can't get out of the house. And many of you guys have to deal with the fact of your children and these other family members you never had to confront because you guys were on different time schedules. Let's try to pin out our differences. And let me say another thing. You might find at the end of this quarantine, you might want to move. And I think that's okay. You might have to realize that the tighter quandaries of areas that you live in, that some of these people who live in apartments or condos, you're living in recycled air. And there's nothing you can do now. You're stuck. But you need to start thinking of home ownership or moving to another state, like Flagship said earlier. Because we're stuck in areas we have no control of, and we need to do something about it, because with every action is a reaction, and for every non-action, these are the aftermath and these are the days. Remember, Black family first. Make sure you share with your family members and thank you so much. I've tried to show everyone who has posted something online. I appreciate all the comments. Make your comments below. Tell me what you think about this video. Talk about the fact that if you play chess, you need to have some kind of strategy. And if you have a business, you may not want to pay that landlord that quick, because they'll have a lot of Asian and foreign landlords that are putting pressure on you right now. But you need to play the Kovac card just like everybody else. You need to play that card and make it clear to them and say, look, I ain't got it. And they're going to tell you, well, you're American. You go out there and get a loan, give me money. Tell them you don't have it and you're being truthful, and learn to value your time and the money you have. When everybody want to take from your storehouse, you think about them women with the oil and the lamp, because God told those women the king was coming. And many of you guys didn't prepare. And the oil with the lamp, with the story of the parable, the women who did not have the oil and the lamp were not invited to the wedding, and they were not protected. If you want to be protected, use wisdom. Stay in the house. Let us pray and work through this spiritually, legally, and let's start talking about if we have to petition to get our rights to walk back on the street again by electing these officials who do not work in our best interest out, then let it be. Then let it be. Get rid of these liberal progressives who are enjoying this moment because they've always wanted socialism. Remember, we are in a rationist moment. They're rationalizing how much food and how much time and how much energy that you can do on the street, and what you can do and how you can do it, and how far you walk and how little you walk. Is this the American that you continue to want to live under? Because if it is, then this is the regime of local people and local governing. This is the state. This is not President Trump. President Trump is looking for a cure and a virus, and he's got that level to deal with, and he's going to slowly start opening up the border. I'm not the border, but slowly start opening up the country again. But as he is going to be requesting it, it does not mean that the governors will do it. It does not mean that the city council and the senators and assembly people say, well, you know, we want to apply to President Trump, but we want to comply with him. But right now, I think we're going to stay quarantined another month. That's going to be a fight right there. You want to be freed, and the president's saying you can be free, but the slave master of the governors that you chose, that you voted for, that you allow corrupt voters to be able to vote for dead people and do voter fraud states in, are going to keep you oppressed. We got a problem. We have to take back the power of the people. We, the people, need to form an order of more conclusiveness in our better lifestyle that we deserve to have. And if we're not waking up to the fact that this is going to be a slow generator, you know how you turn the generator off, it goes woo, 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 and then when it turns off, it's still woo, woo, it's winding down. This is a generator that's going to go up, and now that it's off, it's going to take some time to get it back up and going. But do not waste your reserves. Listen to me. Do not do stupid things and buy stupid things because you at home and you bored. Start doing things, reading. There's a lot of free books online. Listen to books and let them be read to you. Plan your day out. Don't let your mind become idle, weak, or dismayed. I want to encourage you to believe in yourself and to believe in the people around you. And if you don't have strong people around you, feel free to watch my videos. Feel free to watch the videos of the people I've told you and my guests that are on here. Learn to take yourself in a period, a section of the house, saying everybody in this house is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They don't agree with me, Shirley. It's okay. You find a piece of space in a closet and you said, this is my closet, and the rest of you Negroes are going to stay out and don't come in here. And you make that closet your haven space. You make that closet where you pray, where you find yourself, and you revitalize yourself, and you're going to come out of this better, stronger, and smarter. But don't tell me this is going to break us. We done came through a lot for 400 years, and we're going to come through more in another 400 years. But we're not going to let the systematic system that is in place right now, especially from this governing regime of liberals and progressive socialists, want to continue to implement this authoritarianism lifestyle upon the people. We will not support it. We will not back it or stand behind it. So I want to praise you and thank you for watching me. Make sure you tell your friends to get your thumbs up. Remember to hold your head up, to think, to use your mind, think out of the box. Don't be average. Remember, if you need time, practice playing chess. Go to Cash Flow. That game online I told you, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Write that one down. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow. Learn to balance money and practice on that game, because in the future, you can utilize that knowledge. Learn how to play chess. Learn how to play backgammon. Learn how to play Monopoly. Learn how to play, if you know how to play pool, or not just backgammon and things. I mean, not just checkers, not checkers. You know, the dice, those things. Don't just play that. Use strategy games to understand you are right now being strategized. What you gonna do with that? What you gonna do with all this strategy that they're doing right now? Oh, now that Trump they lifted, he's going to lift this quarantine. That does not mean that your state is going to lift the rulings of your movement. If we've got to cause a new revolution and get these people out of the office right now, we can do it. But we have to stand united, my people, and we have to stay woke. Don't sleep at the wheel. Stay woke. I look forward to seeing you in the future. God bless you, and thank you for watching.